Pirate I was dug up by Robin, Chapter 381-400. Chapter 381 Suru is embarrassed. Hawkeye is here. Open black lens bracket 3/4 for full order close black lens bracket. Alabasta, Wei Sung. For a long time, lips parted. The ageless legend in Marine Vice Admiral Crane lays down its tiptoe tip. Vivi's delicate and pretty face lowered, calming down her rapid breathing due to lack of oxygen. At the same time, it is also to prevent others from seeing the delicate crimson on her face at the moment. After all, at the beginning, she didn't have such a long plan. She was just thinking about trying it out. Not only gave Luo Lin face, but also showed the majesty of being the main palace to the little girls next to him. One stone. Who ever thought? Just when she was about to retreat, Roland suddenly turned against the guest. Domineering and tough. Even as a Marine Vice Admiral, she was completely powerless to resist. Just obey until the end. Call. The young Crane let out a sigh of relief. Although the development of the situation is different from what she expected. But Luo Lin was able to take such initiative, and she couldn't help but feel a little joy in her heart. Think here. The corner of the Crane's mouth couldn't help but set off a happy smile. But the next second, the smile on the Crane's face suddenly solidified. Because she heard the voices of people talking not far away. Today's sister, he is really bold. Yeah, I didn't expect to see such a scene in my lifetime. When we go down to see the brothers in the future, we can also have a good talk with them. This is the talk of the veterans. Sister, he is amazing today. In front of so many of us, wow. No, it's not just us. I just noticed that Sister Crane and the hero Mr. Luo Lin are also on the broadcast screen of the video phone bug. Well, the pictures on this screen are all unified. Then that means the world has seen it. Wow. It's so romantic. Listen to the discussions of the female soldiers on their own ship. The expression on He Chao's face changed from solidification to sluggishness, and finally to gnashing of teeth. Romantic bastard, romance, what the hell is going on? Crane's heart is no longer at peace. Nodding lightly, her beautiful eyes met Luo Lin's eyes, revealing an inquisitive look. Luo Lin spread his hands innocently, saying that he didn't know either. Because he had just heard others talk about it, he noticed the big screen in Watchung Square, and even the screen in the distant venue. Although it's a little embarrassing, but an old fritter like him doesn't blush. In comparison, it is even more interesting to see the always calm and aloof Cranes going mad in his heart, and a cute picture of annoyance emerges. Of course. Luo Lin can only think about it in his heart. If he dared to say it, the angry Crane would definitely explode. However, even if Roland didn't say anything, the expression on his face had betrayed his inner thoughts. Result, the frequency of Suru Vice Admiral's silver teeth grinding suddenly became faster. Cough cough. Roland coughed twice in embarrassment. This is all that stupid bird of Morgan's. Make your own decision. If you are really angry with the Crane, I will pluck its fur in 2 days and make you a feather coat. Roland spoke earnestly. At this moment, at the hot air balloon headquarters above Weisung City, a certain bird man who was writing a book and writing the best news suddenly felt agitated, and his feathers fell to the ground. Hearing Roland's solemn assurance, Suru Vice Admiral burst out laughing. Raised Shuquan and punched Luo Lin's bear lightly, and at the same time, Meimu couldn't help but rolled her eyes. Look at this scene. Garp only felt that another handful of dog food had been stuffed into his mouth. Hurry, I wanted to use the senbei seasoning, but I found that I got nothing. That he could have eaten for an hour had already bottomed out. Zephyr, you pay me senbei. Garp said bitterly. Bastard Garp, I only ate a few slices, obviously you ate them yourself. Zephyr was annoyed. I don't care, I will pay. Garp is cheating. The two old men scuffled together immediately. Looking at the behavior of Garp and Zephyr, the last bit of depression in Crane's heart also dissipated. Since it has already happened, let's forget it first, but you hurry up and let that stupid bird move the picture away. Vice Admiral Crane urged. Okay, I'll change the channel right away, but Suru, let's discuss something. Roland grinned. Vice Admiral raised an eyebrow. I'll help you change the channel, and you can do me a little favor too. Roland glanced at the little girls beside him intentionally or unintentionally. From just now. Crying eyes from the little girls made Luo Lin restless. After all, today's excitement is too big for them. But Luo Lin is the least. The one who is good at dealing with this kind of thing. Vice Admiral, who understood what Roland meant, let out a and a subtle smile appeared on his pretty face. Let me as the main palace appease you. Little lover's emotions, thanks to you can figure it out. Roland. I can't help it. Thinking of this, Luo Lin couldn't help but have a headache again. Okay. Just when both sides of Luo Lin were embarrassed and rarely could do anything. The young Suru Vice Admiral nodded and agreed to Roland's outrageous request. Really? See, the crane promised to come down. Roland's head suddenly became smaller. He opened his arms and hugged Suru tightly in front of the crowd. So people chewed. The sound of the dog face and the heartbreak became more intense. Suru, thank you. Roland thanked him softly. He proudly snorted softly and broke free from Luo Lin's embrace. Ha ha ha. Roland laughed a few times and stepped forward. Dad. Mr. Roland. Guillaume and Tina stepped forward. Roland nodded. He raised his hand and touched Guillaume's head. By the way, he also gave Tina a head-touching kill. Although Tina wasn't quite used to Roland's sudden head-to-head killing, she didn't avoid it either. After a while, I also felt a little kind of inexplicable. Roland didn't care about the emotional changes in Tina's heart. After saying hello to Guillaume, Roland's line of sight was directly on the bay more than 100 meters away. There stood a figure as straight as a sword. Here it is. Chapter 382. Hawkeye finally got his wish. Open black lens bracket 4/4 close black lens bracket. Here it is. Roland spoke calmly. Gaze crossed Guillaume and Tina, and landed on that sharp sword-like figure standing on the coast more than 100 meters away. Until Roland spoke. The people who had previously focused all their attention on the couple Luo Lin and he, only then realized that the man standing quietly on the shore. When seeing the appearance of the person who came, there was an uproar in the square. That man is Hawkeye Mahawk. Smoker's eyes widened suddenly. The world's greatest swordsman, Mahawk. Glasses girl Tashigi stretched her neck, her face was full of shock and astonishment, and she even forgot to breathe for a while. After all, he is the world's #1 swordsman. It is the goal pursued by every swordsman. She is no exception. It turned out to be Hawkeye. That Hawkeye is not waiting at the venue. What are you doing here? Could it be that his goal is not the crushed fruit of the boss? There was a lot of discussion among the people in the room. King I, followed by the sound of a piece of sword being unsheathed. Guillaume, Vice Admiral Momonga, the swordsman in Marine and even the veterans of Luo Lin's command, all have swords. Some are vigilant and defensive. More are eager to try and want to fight with it. After all, that's the person standing at the top of kendo. However, for silent invitations from other swordsmen. Hawkeye Mahawk didn't realize it. From start to finish, Hawkeye never looked sideways. Those eyes as sharp as falcons were only firmly locked on Luo Lin's body. How many days? Hawkeye couldn't even remember how long he had been at sea. Just to catch the man in sight. 3 months ago, after the encounter and parting of the Windless Belt. Finding Roland and having a fight with him is Hawkeye's only goal in this short life. However, achieving this goal is not at all easy. From the Windless Zone to East Blue, then to Kokoyashi Village, Shimotsuki Village, East Blue Goya Kingdom. Hawkeye followed Luo Lin's footsteps all the way, but he couldn't catch up. Finally, I managed to catch up with Roland's base camp, Alabasta. It looked like he was going to catch up. As a result, before he could land, he watched his target go away. It even went straight to the sky that time. The next 2 months. Hawkeye's footprints are all over the Great Route. I have been to the capital of water, crossed the Red Earth continent, and been to the New World. Finally. Caught it today. It's really not easy, thinking of my hard work in the past 3 months. Chasing someone so hard, fighting only once, and now finally got what he wanted. Eagle Eye couldn't help feeling very emotional. Read Luo Lin in Hawkeye's heart. It's really hard for this child. Luo Lin sighed silently. Initial contact with the windless belt. Roland's original intention was indeed to whet the Eagle Eye's appetite. I thought it was only a few days later. Never thought. There was a gap of 3 months in between. Because of a series of coincidences and changes. Hawkeye couldn't catch up with him once. It was really bad luck. Think here. Luo Lin also shook his head with a smile. The left hand fell on Guillaume's slender hand and pressed the Conpira, the famous sword that Vivi had unsheathed, back to the scabbard. Press the right hand towards the atmosphere. Therefore, the swordsmen in the field unconsciously put down their swords. I kept you waiting, Hawkeye. Roland stepped forward. The months of waiting are all foreshadowing today, and it's all worth it. Hawkeye Mahawk spoke calmly. The voice fell. The surging and powerful sharp swords rushed towards Luo Lin like a tide. Just as Hawkeye's invisible and powerful sword force is about to come. Luo Lin's body also erupted with a sword that was extremely sharp, covering the world. Boom! The invisible sword confrontation commanded openings in the sky, and gullies appeared on the sea without warning. What a strong sword intent! Feel the terrifying swordsmanship emanating from both Rollins and Hawkeye. The expression on Vice Admiral Momonga's face in the Marine headquarters instantly became extremely solemn. Compared with the sword intent as huge as the sea. He's still a long way off. Case with the elite Vice Admiral Momonga of the headquarters. The little swordsman like Tashigi in the field. The terrifying sword intent that surpassed them thousands, tens of thousands of times. Crowd was already shocked to the point of incomprehensible. I almost forgot, the boss is also an uncompromising world's top swordsman. The old man Mu Lian hugged Luo Lin's black knife Chu Shui and smiled happily. By the way, I am the #1 kendo heir under the boss. And, Mu Lian added another sentence. So, next second. The old man Mu Lian received contempt from the veterans. You can pull it down. Just the kendo heir face of your boss. Have you learned how to hold a knife yet? And your disciple Lucio, you don't know what you have taught you. You don't know how good he is. Plus the boss and our timely correction, otherwise, a good seedling will be destroyed in your hands sooner or later. The veterans were sternly rebuked. Hearing this, even Mu Lian's old face turned red. Embarrassed that I couldn't refute it, and I was really panicking. Ha ha ha. The veterans couldn't help laughing. Hey, Mu Lian, what are you still doing? The boss is already waiting. Former Vice Admiral Alfred slapped Mu Lian. Oh. Who was severely damaged by his friends, came to his senses after realizing it. Boss, take the knife. Mu Lian threw out the black knife in his hand. Roland raised his right hand without looking back. Black knife autumn water starts. At the same time, the sound of king knives resounded through the heavens and the earth. The world's #1 swordsman, Mahawk's supreme sword and black sword knight, also appeared. Boom rumble, a huge shadow floated from the sky. Attracted the attention of people in the square. It was a special battle arena with a length and width of over 1,000 meters. After all, this is the confrontation between the world's top swordsmen. A random spill of power is enough to destroy the earth. Naturally, it cannot be carried out directly in the square, and another venue is required. Hawkeye looked at the arena flying from the sky, nodded knowingly, and jumped up. Luo Lin's figure was disillusioned, and he took a step forward, already on the ring at the same time. The ring-shaped martial arts venue and the two major islands for watching the battle, the picture on the big screen of the live broadcast changed again. The dazzling sword light shone, causing everyone to narrow their eyes unconsciously. That's Hero Roland and Hawkeye Mahawk. Chapter 383 Brain Powder Queen. Bard Zorro. Open black lens bracket 1/4 close black lens bracket. The dazzling sword light suddenly filled the entire big screen. Ling's people who were paying attention to the beautiful kissing scene on the screen squinted their eyes unconsciously. What's going on? What happened again? This light is in the end. Who the hell wants to blind Lao Su's Longan? Pandemic Queen. The people at the 10-island venue and the two live broadcast plazas of the two islands shouted. After a while, the dazzling sword light that filled the screen converges. On the huge screen, two sword-like silhouettes were clearly reflected above the huge battle arena. Hero Luo Lin, the hero of Wacheng, who they are familiar with today. The other person standing opposite the hero, the one holding the huge cross, the black knife is. Then that's the world's greatest swordsman, Mahawk the Hawk. Watching the island, the live broadcast square, the sharp-eyed reporters immediately recognized the identity of another person. Instant, there was an uproar. It turned out to be that Hawkeye Mahawk, the world's largest swordsman. Why is Shichibukai Hawkeye there? And that fighting stance, is he fighting a hero? Could this be Ji Yu Dong, the battle for the seat of the world's greatest swordsman? The hero Luo Lin is actually a great swordsman. I remembered. Hawkeye visited that Weisung 2 months ago. Could it be that Hawkeye has been ready to fight the hero since then? This is the challenge of the world's greatest swordsman to the former Marine hero. Hurry up and report this big news. The reporters in the live broadcast square were boiling. The attention has been completely attracted by the latest big news, the battle between the world's largest swordsmen, and no longer pays attention to the gossip news of the previous hero and Marine's staff. Prairie Venue. Father, look at the big screen, something incredible has happened. Grandpa, look, now is the battle between the hero and the eagle-eyed great swordsman. Lao Kai and Abu, the two tired grandsons, shouted. Bastard, damn Garp 10,000 times. 4. Grandchildren's reminders and big events broadcast on the screen. Chinjiao of the Cone seems to have never heard of it. Still indulging in hatred for Garp. Monsters, 1 or 2 are monsters. The greatest swordsman in the world. That's the one who stands at the top of Kendo. The other, the hero's sword is so strong. Even through the screen, I can hardly breathe. The hero is actually an unprecedented terrifying great swordsman. Did Hawkeye come to challenge this time? As a challenger. Feeling the terrifying sword intent that seemed to overflow the screen, the great warriors from all over the world were shocked and lost their voices. Damn it, I knew it could be like this. I would go there directly, otherwise, it's me who is attracting attention there now. Cavendish, a peerless and beautiful young man with curly blonde hair, muttered unwillingly to himself. Go on, Hawkeye bastard, go on. I'm optimistic about you. An ancient venue occupied by beasts. Queen of Epidemic stood on the high cliff, watching the battle of the great swordsmen on the big screen, exclaimed again and again with excitement. If you don't know that posture, you would think that this queen is the most loyal fan of Hawkeye Mahawk. Give me a little quiet, idiot queen. The poisonous-tongued sister Wuluti rolled her eyes at the dancing queen. There was no longer the dazzling picture of showing affection on the screen, and Wuluti's emotions that were close to going berserk finally calmed down again. Go on, Hawkeye, hack that bastard. 4. Wuluti's scolding, the queen of the epidemic seemed to have not heard of it, and she still shouted to support Mahawk. The end, he even started the beasts and the ants soldiers to shout together to cheer for Hawkeye. This picture, the scene of the support club of the real-life idiot fans. It's just that Queen and the others are not really fans of Mahawk. The reason why they work so hard is just the world's largest swordsman. His strength is really not overwhelming. He can actually fight with that hero back and forth. Thornback. Long Pejuan's eyes widened in horror. Fighting technique is comparable to that. Garp, and swordsmanship is not even inferior to Hawkeye. This is really troublesome. Fishman Sasaki saw a drop of cold sweat on his forehead. Are we really going to fight a monster like that to the end? The giant beauty Black Maria looks shocked. Hawkeye Mahawk, Hero Roland, I really want to try it myself. The swordsman Phosphord, among the 6 sons of the sky, clenched a long knife in his hand. Fight, fight, it's better to fight to lose both. Hawkeye Mahawk, you are working hard, haven't you eaten? At least let that guy bleed a little bit, so we can relax a little later. The thieves' ministers and cadres who were also at the Taiku venue were also paying close attention to the battle of the great swordsmen. In the current situation, as long as it can consume that hero's physical strength, it is earned. Perospero gritted his teeth. Is it possible that a new world #1 will be born today? Long-legged Strokes made Star Smoothie clench the long sword in his hand. At this moment, Ring Budo venue, the coast of a certain island. The tattered battleship finally docked. Wait, Straw Hat Luffy and others cheered it, and the big live broadcast screen in the sky suddenly shone. It's finally started. Usopp grins Isho. What started? Usopp asked subconsciously. Of course it's Hawkeye's challenge to that hero Roland. Hawkeye has been preparing for this challenge for a long time. Lacey Rudo. What? Everyone on the boat was shocked. At the moment when his voice fell, the flickering sword glow on the screen converges. Hawkeye Mahawk and Roland clearly caught people's eyes. Really? Straw Hat Luffy exclaimed. Hawkeye and Second Deck, Feng Lei suddenly shuddered. The faces of Daz Bones, Crocodile and others were also slightly unnatural. Apparently recalling a near-death experience in the Windless Belt 3 months earlier. Hawkeye Mahawk and Mr. Roland. The black-haired swordsman Lucio clenched his fists and kept his eyes fixed. Also staring at the green-haired swordsman Roronoa Zoro. It's just different from the silent spectators of others. While Zoro was watching the battle, he could not help chanting. That is one gorgeous sword skill name after another. Chapter 384 Warm-up is over. The strongest sword in this life. Open black lens bracket 2/4 close black lens bracket. King, golden iron transfer. Boom rumble, followed by the roar of heaven and earth. The supremely sharp knife in Hawkeye's hand, the Black Knife Knight, touched and collided with Luo Lin's black knife Chu Shui. Of terrifying sword she escaped from between the blades. Split the sky and the ring ground. This is the battle of the world's top swordsmen. There are no fancy pictures. There won't be any bells and whistles chanting. Some are just the simplest hack and slash. But the simplest is often the most dangerous. Every encounter between Rollins and Hawkeye Mahawk. What burst out between the blades is the most powerful sword intent in the world. That escaped is enough to tear the sky and the earth apart. Road to simplicity. Kendo is no different. In the world of pirates, there are 3 thresholds in Kendo, representing the triple Kendo realm. The first is the introduction to Kendo. Anyone can cross this threshold as long as they work hard. After entering Kendo, he became a swordsman. Percent of swordsmen above the sea are still in the entry stage. After entering the hall, it is time to enter the room. The most important point that distinguishes ordinary swordsmen from swordsmen is iron slashing. Chopping iron is the second threshold of Kendo. Vice Admiral of the sword in his hand is enough to cut through the hard steel. It is a sign that the swordsman has entered the house and become a swordsman. Under the stacking of the huge swordsman base, there are still a few iron swordsmen on the sea. After becoming a swordsman of iron swordsman, what you face is the last threshold of Kendo, Zandao. Only after crossing this threshold can one be qualified to be called a real great swordsman. This is also the most difficult threshold to cross. Now, count the whole sea. There are only a handful of people who are qualified to be called great swordsmen. Hawkeye is naturally in it. Others include the four emperors red-haired Shanks, Golden Lion Shiki, Marine Headquarters candidate Admiral Momoshige Guion, Yixin Dojo Master Kushiro, and Whitebeard Pirates 5th Division Captain Foil Vista can be barely counted as one. In addition, the four emperors Whitebeard, who wields the supremely fast sword Kong Yunchi, the four emperors Lot Linlin, who possesses the special Hormes greatsword, and Isho, who has a lot of fruit abilities, can also be regarded as great swordsmen of alternative enlightenment. There is an insurmountable level gap between ordinary swordsmen and swordsmen. Same. Even if they are the same great swordsmen, there are still highs and lows. There are also 3 levels of great swordsmen. The first one is a fancy entry-level swordsman like Foil Vista. On top of that is Mihawk with eagle eyes, a great swordsman like the four emperors red-haired Shanks who returns to the basics and reduces complexity to simplicity. 4. A swordsman in the realm of eagle eyes and red hair. The fancy sword skills have no meaning anymore. Ping is the big move. In this sea, not many swordsmen can catch their swords. This is the great swordsman standing at the top of Kendo. In the perception of the world, this is already the pinnacle of Kendo. However, only a few like Hawkeye know about it. On top of this, it can be even higher. In the past, Hawkeye learned from ancient books that Wano-kuni's dragon-slaying warrior, sword god Ryoma had touched this higher threshold. Now, Hawkeye knew that the man standing in front of him had indeed stepped into it. Step into the supreme realm of Kendo, where everything is a sword. Everything is a sword, everything can be a sword. Everything can be cut with a single sword. After the confrontation of the 108th sword of King Hawkeye, Mihawk's body floated and retreated, landing on the riddled ring. Hawkeye boy, the warm-up is almost over. Luo Lin also stood up calmly. Hawkeye nodded. This conversation belonging to the 2 great swordsmen was clearly conveyed to everyone's eyes through the phone bug. Countless people were in an uproar and boiled. Warm up, he said. It's a warm-up. What a joke. Is that level of confrontation just a warm-up? If it was really just a warm-up, it would be too strong. People screamed in shock. First, there is the peak greeting of the hero Garp. At this moment, it is the ultimate warm-up of the world's largest swordsman. The 2 battles that took place today are truly incredible. Far beyond people's imagination. 4. An ordinary powerhouse, Luo Lin's warm-up statement is unbelievable. It's just deliberately exaggerating and scary. Only true swordsmen know. Rollins is not exaggerating. The previous series of fierce confrontations were really just a small test before the official start. Just when people are still in the shock of the so-called warm-up, the atmosphere in the battle arena in the sky suddenly changed. An inexplicable and grand sword intent suddenly spread out from the arena. It even affects the surrounding environment. The sea made violent waves at this moment. The sky was clear and cloudy at this time. What's the matter? Feel the suppressed sword intent in the air. The people in the square subconsciously shouted in horror. It's about to start. Headquarters Elite Vice Admiral Momonga said solemnly. What's going to start? Glasses Girl Tashigi asked. Of course it's a formal confrontation between the great swordsman and the great swordsman. Alfred waited for the veterans to grin. Don't worry, Tina, that's Daddy, Daddy won't lose. Guion patted Tina, who was nervous and worried beside him, with a confident smile on her pretty face. If you don't trust him, how can you say you like him? Other side, the young Suru Vice Admiral looked at the little girls in front of him with a stern look. Yes. Listen to the reprimand from the crane. All the little girls stood up immediately. Rollingo is the strongest. Brother Rolling is not going to lose. Nami, Vivi and other little girls spoke one after another. Sky Arena. Hawkeye took a deep breath, and his closed eyes suddenly opened. The pair of eyes that were as sharp as falcons instantly revealed a powerful sword force. Then, hawk-eyed Mahawk took a step forward. The whole body's sword intent and sword potential were further sublimated, causing the world to change color. His attempt. He is tried hard to integrate the insights from 3 months ago into his own swordsmanship, step by step to reach that higher realm. Feeling Hawkeye's rising sword intent realm, the curvature of the corner of Luo Lin's mouth widened. That's the way it is, Hawkeye, I'll be waiting for you up there, come on. Luo Lin snorted, and the sword intent and sword momentum all over his body instantly climbed to the top. Ha ha ha. The cold-hearted great swordsman Mahawk, who has always been unsmiling, laughed out loud at this moment. The pursuit and waiting in March was finally in vain, and today's trip is worthwhile. Eagle-eyed Mahawk laughed heartily, waving the supreme knife and black knife at night. He slashed the strongest sword in his life. Chapter 385 New World First. Open black lens bracket 3/4 for full order close black lens bracket. The coast of the Ring Island venue. A tattered warship is moored. The little monsters of Weisung on the boat stared at the two great swordsmen on the big screen in the sky. One by one, their hearts have long been shocked to the point where they can't be added. Warming up. It's unbelievable that such a fierce match is just a warm-up. Long-nosed Usopp murmured unconsciously. If it's just a warm-up, how terrifying is it if it's serious? Sanji Kurozu was so shocked that the smoke from his mouth fell to the ground. As expected of a hero, Usopp, who is an imperial cadre, was very emotional at this moment. That Hawkeye is indeed much stronger than when he was sparring with the boss 13 years ago, and that hero, except the fighting technique that is comparable to that, Garp, there is even a faint hint of swordsmanship in swordsmanship. Above the eagle eye, it's really crazy. The little fat man lazily shook his head as he saw it, and for a while, he didn't even have much flesh and blood in his hands. Call. Marco, the captain of the first white team, let out a long breath. It's no wonder that even the old man is so afraid of that man. After today, this sea will not be calm again. Marco murmured in shock. Zoro, drink some water. The black-haired swordsman Lucio brought a glass of cold water and handed it to the panting Zoro. Thank you. Zoro thanked him, took the cold water, and drank it. The dry, hot throat finally got some relief. Lucio looked at Zoro strangely. Previously, Roland had warmed up with Mahawk's peak swordsman, and he had witnessed Zoro's invincible, singing, ability with his own eyes. One after another, the names of swordsmanship that are so handsome and bursting, and high-end and high-grade swordsmanship, Zoro came to me without thinking at all, and they didn't have any duplicates. The ability to name this sword skill, I am afraid that no one in the world can match it. If Zoro can point half of his bard talent, no, even just a little bit, point to his Luigi attribute. The problem of his lunatic is probably already cured. Concentrate, it's time to start. Zoro reminded. Hearing Zoro's reminder, Lucio came back to his senses. Stop thinking about Zoro's singing, and stare at the big screen in the sky without blinking. On the screen, Mahawk, the world's greatest swordsman, took a deep breath and opened his eyes. Those sharp eyes like the falcon version have sword light blooming. Anyone who saw those eyes, their hearts tensed involuntarily, and all the hair on their bodies exploded. Even breathing seemed to stop. Next moment, more terrifying things happened. Accompanied by Hawkeye Mahawk's sword intent upgrade. The sky and the earth changed color. Clear sky is replaced by night. Overcast clouds covered the sky. Then it was chopped into pieces by the endless sword intent. Eyed Mahawk, who has always been in love with swords and climbed towards the peak of Kendo, smiled and laughed happily. This knife has collected all the decades of his life. This sword alone, he is enough to rank with the Emperor at the top of the world, Admiral. This sword touched the highest threshold of kendo, and it was the strongest in his life. Hakai Mahak, out of the sword. A simple slash, but it came with a darkness, pressing towards Luolin. Is this a sword that brings eternal night? The black-haired swordsman Lucio murmured in shock. No. Zoro shouted loudly, and unconsciously clenched the 3 knives at his waist. Just as Zoro's roar fell, the power of the slash that belonged to Hakai really exploded. The dark night was torn apart by the bright knife light, and it fell towards Luolin with the oppressive force several times that of the dark night. It was a flickering light that even the whole night could not stop. What a slaying the night! What a world number 1! It's not as good as this old man. Above the sky, the swordsman Isho's eyes were wide open, and he exclaimed in admiration. Aside, Golden Lion Shiki groaned in disapproval. However, the shock in those eyes could not be concealed. As a great swordsman of the previous era, I watched the light of the sword that cut through the night. The sword light that can definitely open up mountains and seas. Golden Lion Shiki grinned involuntarily. It seems, maybe it's really not as good. The young people have been a little too aggressive recently. Golden Lion Shiki sighed to himself. At the same time, above the sky arena, feel the sublimation of Mahak's slashing night. Roland couldn't help but laugh happily. Consciousness to risk everything in the face of opponents. All he could do was try his best. Use your own strength to respond to Hakai's awareness. 1000, Object, 1, Sword. Boom, the world is silent. Boom. What followed was a thunderous roar. The air between the 2 great swordsmen exploded one after another like cannonballs. One after another, lightning-like knife light burst out, slicing the earth to pieces, and even the stable void gave birth to a dark crack, representing the space cracking under their sharpness. Finally, the dazzling brilliance bloomed in the center of the collision, taking over people's vision. A line of heaven and earth, all sounds are silent. I don't know how long has passed. The buzzing sound that lingered in people's ears gradually faded away, and the terrifying sword collision between heaven and earth gradually subsided. Until then, people from all over the world were startled to see the huge piece that was already torn apart. Sky Arena. The huge ring fragments smashed into the sea, causing thousands of waves. The soft sound of bass blade rubbing against the air is now so clear. People looked at the sound, and the pupils of their eyes contracted unconsciously. They saw the 12 workers, the supremely fast knife with the chaotic blade and the heavy flower T-shaped, the fall of the Black Knife Knight, and pierced straight into the broken ring. The sword of the world's greatest swordsman is out of hand. What this means is already clear. It's a winner. I lost. Hakai shook his head with a wry smile, calmly accepting his defeat. Wow, there was an uproar in the audience. Hakai Mahak, give you 10 years, try to surpass me now. Above the sky, someone spoke, and the sound was like thunder. That's the new world number 1. Chapter 386 The Strongest. Insurmountable Mountain. Open black lens bracket 4/4 for order close black lens bracket. King, the supremely sharp knife, the black knife, spun upside down and stabbed into the arena floor. It represents the end of the battle of the world's top swordsmen. I lost. Hakai Mahak's calm voice sounded. Confess your failures. Result, the world fell into a dead silence because of his defeat. Hakai Mahak, give you 10 years to try to surpass me. From the sky above, thunder-like words came out, domineering and boundless. That is the opening of the new world first. So, the world is boiling for it. Win, brother rolling wins. Waisung Plaza, Nami, Vivi and other little girls danced happily and hugged each other. The pretty face was full of joy and excitement. My goal in the future is to become a father. Gion's slender hands were placed on the Konpira, the famous sword around his waist, with a happy smile on his pretty face. Mr. Roland has become a new target. It's a really tall mountain. Glasses swordsman Tashigi murmured. Ha 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 ha, he really deserves to be the boss of Roland. The old man Mu Lien shouted excitedly. The new world's greatest swordsman is born. The boss is the strongest. Next is the world's strongest throne. The #1 boss in the world. ... A group of elderly veterans clenched their fists one after another, their blood was agitated, and they shouted with all their strength towards the sky. It doesn't have the stability of being an old man at all. Even more excited than the young warriors of Weisung. Because that's their boss. That guy Luo Lin, was he that strong before? Garp scratched his head and looked at Zephyr beside him. Who knows, that guy has never been able to use common sense to speculate. Even in the 36 years he has been imprisoned, he has become stronger in some way that we can't understand. Zephyr said with emotion. That's right. Garp nodded sympathetically. Ho 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 ho, the new world's greatest swordsman, he really deserves to be Mr. Roland. The Weisung headquarters building, Brooke stood up abruptly with a look of admiration on his face. In terms of kendo skills alone, even Captain Roger might not be as good as those two. Crocus sighed with emotion. Alas, even Captain Roger. The layman Sandal suddenly widened his eyes in shock. What a monster. I really don't know how that bastard cultivated. Rayleigh took a deep breath, but the shock on the old face couldn't be calmed down. It's the best way to do it. Only the strongest he is worth our bet on everything. Shaki opened his mouth with a smile. The opening drama is almost over, so it's time for me to get ready. ... The new world's greatest swordsman, Luo Lin. Headquarters, big news. Big news is coming again. Mahawk, the world's greatest swordsman, lost. Lost to that hero Roland. Hero Roland is the new world swordsman. The live broadcast plaza of the two major islands, the reporters and the audience were screaming for another shocking event. After the hero, does he have a new title? The world's greatest swordsman is really an insurmountable mountain. Supernova Death Surgeon Trafalgar Law's right hand Vivi holding the knife trembled. Ah blah blah, it's okay. On the other side, the supernova Scratchman Apu laughed happily. What's okay? The magician Hawkins looked solemn, unable to understand Apu's laughter. Of course it's because I'm not a swordsman. With the world's #1 swordsman standing in front of me, the world's swordsmen are probably going to despair. Ah bah bah. Scratchman Apu gleefully laughs. The atmosphere in the room was quiet. Are you an idiot? Magician Hawkins was speechless. What do you mean? The smile on Apu's face froze. That man is not just the world's greatest swordsman standing in front of the swordsman, he is the strongest standing in front of all the powerhouses in the ocean, and he is a roadblock for all of us. Derek spoke quietly. Gah, ha. Scratchman Apu opened his mouth wide, his body stiff. Abominable, abominable, abominable. Taiku Venue. The stomping of the queen of the epidemic. What the world's greatest swordsman is really useless, you trash Mahawk. Queen of Epidemic cried out in exasperation. You can only talk about it here, Queen. The voice of Phosphord in the 6 suns in the sky was low, and the hand holding the knife shook unconsciously. Phosphord, you won't tremble with fear, it's worthless. Uluti's venomous mouth. Sister, don't talk nonsense. Peggy Wan whispered, trying to explain for Phosphord. But before Peggy Wan thought of a reason. Next moment. Phosphord himself nodded affirmatively at first. As the top swordsman, who was infinitely close to the realm of the great swordsman, his impression of the previous battle of the world's greatest swordsman was deeper than anyone present. Hawkeye and that man before. It's too terrifying either way. Not far away, the thief's swordsman, the star Smoothie, turned pale in shock. Smoothie, is it really that scary? Are you overreacting? Charlotte's cutest sister, Franpe, shook her head with an incomprehensible expression. No matter how strong he is, he will never be my mother's opponent. Charlotte's eldest son, Perospero, suddenly shouted loudly, waking up his terrified partners. Yes. Brother Peros is right. Our mother is the emperor of the sea. And this time, it's Mom and the monster Kaido of the beasts. Two sea emperors join forces, this is unprecedented. What about Marine's heroes? The pirates of the pirates shouted, in order to dispel their inner fears and strengthen their confidence. The venue of the island coast. The little monsters in Waesung on the tattered warship also recovered from their shocking emotions. Mr. Roland is the new world #1. The brunette teenager Lucio flushed with excitement. Too strong, no matter which one is too strong, now I am not even an ant compared to them, are these the great swordsmen standing at the top of the world? Zoro couldn't help thinking. But even though he had seen such a terrifying confrontation, he was still not a little discouraged in his heart. Contrary, Shang's fighting spirit and determination to become the world's #1 have swelled like never before. This is Zoro's sword. Hawkeye Mahawk, the second person to defeat you will definitely be me. Roronoa Zoro's gaze was extremely firm. As expected of our teacher. Sabo touched the head of his brother next to him with emotion. Straw Hat Luffy's left fist slammed into the right palm. It's finally our turn. Straw Hat Luffy grinned Isho, warlike. Bang, boom bam bam, came shortly after Straw Hat Luffy's voice fell. There were explosions of fireworks from all over the 10 major islands venues. Gorgeous fireworks rained over the venue. Represents the official opening of this martial arts conference. Chapter 387 The Martial Arts Tournament opens. Cruel. Open black lens bracket 1/4 for full order close black lens bracket. The sound of the salute of bang, bang 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 bang, suddenly exploded over the island of the ring-shaped venue. Gorgeous fireworks rain covered the sky. Immersed in the strongest shock one by one. It's 9 in the morning. Shaki's voice came from a giant loudspeaker floating above the ring. What happened at 9 in the morning? Who are you frightening with so many salutes all of a sudden? What the hell is going on? The contestants in the various venues shouted in confusion. The opening of our Watchung has been completed, so the next thing that will be launched is this martial arts event, please prepare for it. Shaki announced. Wow, when Shaki's voice fell. The top 10 islands venue was once again in an uproar. If it wasn't for Shaki's reminder, they would have almost forgotten. Forget their real purpose here this time. Didn't he come to participate in the martial arts conference and get the final Overlord level fruit prize? However, what happened in the past hour was too shocking. First, the identity of the Lord of Waesung was revealed, and he was actually the hero of Marine 36 years ago. Next came Marine Garp, who made an earth-shattering hello to his brother from the past. Then came Marine's immortal legend, Vice Admiral Crane appeared, openly showing the world the relationship between him and the hero Roland. Finally, it is the battle of the world's largest swordsman. Mahawk, the former world's largest swordsman, appeared, and fought against the hero Roland for the strongest sword. The final result is, the throne of the world's #1 in Kendo changed hands. The events that have happened in the past hour, one by one, are all major events that are enough to shock the world. Under the impact of various major events, people even forgot their original purpose. Now, until Shaki mentioned it. The contestants in the major venues were all in awe. I remembered the purpose of my trip. Really, I was almost stunned by you. I almost forgot, I'm here to be the Overlord, not to be shocked. Damn, since it's over on your side, hurry up and announce the start. Hurry up and take out that Overlord level crushed fruit and let us see it. ... Venue, contestants from all over the world shouted incessantly. Shaki couldn't hear their clamor and complaints. Even if you hear it, you won't care too much. She just needs to do her job and communicate the rules of the convention. Then let me introduce the rules of this martial arts conference to you first. Shaki spoke to himself. The primary system of the conference is a melee knockout match, and now there are more than 100,000 players in the top 10 contestants. All you have to do is beat them to advance to the second round. We have countless phone bugs on each island, enough to make sure not to miss a single battle scene. I announce that the battle begins, and the time is limited to 3 hours. When Shaki's voice fell, the 4-sided video screen suspended in the sky made a countdown sound. An hourglass timer replaces the Great Swordsman battle screen. Next to the hourglass is the time limit for the primary election. The 3-hour countdown started without warning. Watch the countdown on the big screen. Major venues, most of the contestants were still stunned. Although they also want to start quickly. But this is too fast. They haven't figured out what the specific rules are. It's a bit too sudden for the conference to start like this. Hey, you. Some contestants just wanted to complain. Next moment. A cannonball exploded at his feet, blasted it far away, and left the venue. Ha ha ha, although I don't know what's going on, as long as I kill it, it's over. Little ones, come on, break through the first round quickly. It's only 100 for 100 people, it's not enough, this uncle wants to beat 1,000 people. Boom 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 The proud laughter of the pirates mixed with the painful screams forms a chaotic fighting movement, which makes one's blood flow. It's a feast of fighting. Falulu, this time I will definitely be the first to be promoted, and let the world admire me. This is simply the best stage for me to debut. The captain of the handsome pirates, the noble pirate, and Cavendish of the White Horse said with intoxicated longing. Sorry. Quote. The White Horse Faruru below it made a loud neigh. Stepping forward with 4 hoofs, he took Cavendish straight to kill a group of pirates nearby. Destruction Cannon Edio, I don't want to meet you at the beginning, see you in the second round. The famous fighter in the New World, the long-footed Brugili opened his mouth. Me too, see you in the second round. The long-handed fighter Edio nodded, and the two ran to each side. The blue circle spreads out centered on Death Surgeon Trafalgar Law. Turn a radius of 100 meters into his surgical space. Slaughterhouse. Trafalgar Law waved the demon knife in his hand and cried. In an instant, 30 pirates in this space were all cut in half. Papa, 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 thunderous applause. The captain is amazing. It only took a few minutes to defeat 40 people. If this goes on, there is a high probability of being the first to qualify. The salted fish of the Heart Pirates shouted 666. Hey, I said, do you still have time to relax here? If you don't want to be a stepping stone for others to advance, then retreat to the coast now. It's enough for me and Babo to advance. Trafalgar Law reprimanded. Yes. A group of salted fish, including the white bear Babo, stood at attention. Wait a minute, Captain, do I want to come too? After a while, White Bear Babo seemed to realize something, and the face of a cute bear was filled with confusion. Is there a problem? Alas. Chapter 388 Infighting. The 100 Beasts and the Big Mom are going to fight. Open black lens bracket 2/4 close black lens bracket. The time is 9:05 in the morning. It has only been 5 minutes since the announcement of the martial arts conference. The roar of the top 10 islands was loud. The screams and screams of the participating pirates were mixed, resounding through the sea. It is the law of this world that the weak eat the strong. Now it is further expanded and reflected here. The sight is brutal. It's finally here, the highlight of this big event. In addition to the competition for the final hegemony fruit, this conference is also the best stage to be famous in the world. There is a big melee of more than 100,000 strong people from all over the world, who can stand out and become the first advancer in the primary election of the conference. Who will have the last laugh and become the final big winner of this conference? Get the ticket to the Overlord. 2 spectator islands. The reporters in the live broadcast square stared at the dazzling picture of the fierce battle on the big screen. Exciting conference reports are generated from their pen and passed to the world through the headquarters of various newspapers. Scratch disk, burst. The supernova Scratchman EPUB with a bounty of over 100 million activates his devil fruit ability. The body turns into a variety of musical instruments, playing a variety of dangerous sound waves, to defeat the pirates. Ah bah bah, it's like this. 20th person, sorry, magician, Drake, I'll be one step ahead of you. Scratchman EPUB laughed proudly. Will there be 1,000 people who will be promoted to the primary election of this conference? 4. Scratchman EPUB's smugness, the magician Hawkins seemed unheard of. He was still playing with the tarot cards in front of him seriously, murmuring softly to himself. No, there are at most 300 finalists. Magician Hawkins nodded affirmatively. Ah. Why? 100,000 divided by 100, isn't there at least 1,000 promotion places? The people of the Hawkins Pirates and the Drake Pirates are puzzled. 1,000 promotion places, the premise is that these 1,000 people who are capable of promotion do not interfere with each other. Fallen Marine Rear Admiral Drake's faint opening. The rules of this conference do not specifically mention the heads inheritance system, which means that even if you defeat a person who has accumulated 99 heads, the opponent's head count will not be added to you. The losses can be imagined. Magician Hawkins analyzed. And the time limit this time is 3 hours. Even if you are lucky enough to defeat 100 people and advance to 100, you still have to survive on the chaotic island for 3 hours. If you can't survive 3 hours, everything will be empty talk after all. Drake agreed. On the second round of this conference, only the truly powerful can participate. The Taiku venue occupied by the beasts and the ant. A fierce quarrel, and the war of scolding is in full swing. Idiot Queen, it's all your bad idea. In this venue, except, we don't have any birdmen. If you want to beat someone to advance, you have to run to other venues. It's all your fault, idiot. Yulu T cursed loudly. Occupy this venue and don't let it step in. Don't you all agree that I'm the one to blame now? I don't want to lose face. The Plague Queen said angrily. Okay, old lady, Mr. Queen, stop arguing, now it's still important to advance. Peggy Wan was the peacemaker in the middle. Hum. As the 4 emperor-level pirates who rule the sea. The islands favored by the beasts would not let ordinary little pirates set foot there. So as early as last night, the pirates in this ancient venue were defeated and expelled by their strong force. When today's competition system is announced, the crowd of beasts was dumbfounded. Because now this venue is all my own people. To make matters worse, the pirates of the 2 venues bordering the Taiku venue are still there. They are moving to other island venues. Obviously they know their power and don't want to provoke them at all. As such, just chasing and finding someone takes a lot of effort. If you want to win the top spot in the conference, it is impossible to become the number 1 promotion of the conference. Not right. It's not entirely impossible. Queen of Epidemic rolled her eyes, as if she had come up with a good idea. The queen bastard of the beasts, what do we do? The malicious gaze from the queen, Aunt Perospero and others were all alert. Hey, Auntie's family, I want to discuss something with you. Anyway, you have so many people, it is impossible for all of you to advance to the second round. Anyway, everyone is allies now, don't worry, I am very light, and I won't kill anyone. The queen smiled happily. What did you say? Bastards of the beasts, do you want to fight? Don't deceive people too much, you bastard queen. Why don't you give us the heads of your subordinates? Perospero, Oven, Daifuku, General Star Smoothie and other ants ministers, the cadres have been bombarded. The situation on the field was instantly tense. It's over. Just give me enough time. Two short figures jumped out from the two camps, blocking the two forces that were about to fight. One of them was a little old man in a white chef hat. The original partner of the four emperors, Charlotte Linlin, the original elder of the thief, and the only external core cadre in the pirates, Chef Longbread. Side of the beasts, the petite loli with a paper mask is named Baohuang. Although the strength is only a real level, its status is not low. Her other identity is the personal secretary of the four Emperor Kaido of the beasts. Perospero, Smoothie, calm down all of you. Longbread said solemnly. Longbread, but the bastards of the beasts are too deceiving. Ants ministers, the cadres are unhappy. Mr. Queen, you are true, we have only united with the ant, and don't say such things again in the future. Little Lolita feigned anger. Yes. The queen was full of laughter and responded indifferently. In this tournament format, we don't need too many people to advance to the second round. The emperor continued. 100 beasts are right, we just need to wait quietly, wait for Linlin and the others to arrive, and before that, to preserve our strength, the last thing we can do is infighting. Longbread echoes the road. If you want to preserve your strength, you should preserve it well, anyway. I'm here to kill. The poisonous-tongued sister Yuluti rolled her eyes. No longer listening to the nonsense of Longbread and the emperor, she turned and flew out. The martial arts conference that gathers the powerhouses from all over the world. This is a rare sight in 100 years. If you just watch it, it will be a bit boring. Fursford grinned Isho. Ha, that's what I said. Before Mr. Kaido and the others come, let's have some fun. Fishman Sasaki echoes the road. Peggy Wan, I'll leave it to you to preserve your strength. I'll go and play with the old man Whitebeard and the red-haired bastard. Queen of Epidemic also spoke. Peggy Wan, what a bunch of idiots, beasts. But how can they make them stand out? We represent Mother's face. Up. After scolding the other party for being an idiot, the ant and cadres also dispatched one after another. Chapter 389 Stressful Time. Unexpected Dark Horse. Open black lens bracket 3/4 close black lens bracket. The time is 9:15 in the morning. The battle at the Ring Martial Arts venue is in full swing. There are more than 100,000 participants in this martial arts conference. 10,000 venues, each island has a population of about 10,000 people. 10,000 sounds like a lot, but compared to the size of the island, it is still far from the situation where you can meet people by walking a few steps. And apart from the initial idiot pirates with hot brains, after the rules of the convention are clarified, not many people will charge into battle alone. Group melee launched by one or more pirate groups as a unit. In 15 minutes, the throne of the first ranker was still vacant. It won't be too long before someone makes the cut. The first 100 people to qualify has not yet been born. But the number of people with more than 90 heads has already exceeded the number of hands. Supernova Trafalgar Law, Pirate Prince Whitehorse Cavendish, Leeching Maku Gay, Ranger Doma, etc. The famous pirate captains in the New World. And the young man who played on behalf of Waysung Monsters, Dragon King Sabo, Straw Hat Luffy, Pirate Hunter Roranoa Zoro, etc. There are at most 3 minutes, and the first promotion will be born among these people. Who will be the first promotion in this competition? It's getting more and more exciting. Straw Hat Luffy, Fire Fist Ace, Dragon King Sabo and Pirate Hunter, if they hadn't landed on the same island, perhaps some of them would have been born long ago. I think the final one will be one of them too. That's not necessarily true. Last year's supernova, that Cavendish, if he didn't delay for some time, I'm afraid he's already qualified. I'm optimistic about him. And those from the New World. Pirate captains, if not for the number of people who were divided by their subordinates, I am afraid they would have qualified long ago. 2 islands watching the battle, the reporters and the audience on the live broadcast square had a lot of discussion. Looking at the constantly flickering pictures on the screen, the number of people jumping, even as bystanders, their blood is boiling. Watchung Plaza. Equally loud. Come on Captain Sabo. Luffy, Zoro too. Everyone, work harder. Thousands of core warriors in Waesung sat cross-legged, watching the big live broadcast screen in the sky, and cheering for their representatives. Ha 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 ha, as expected of my grandchildren. Garp, the senbei-eating crowd, laughed proudly. Mr. Garp, we have done a lot to train our grandson. Yeah, especially Mr. Zephyr, that's a real heart. The veterans spoke up. Zephyr grunted. He was really tortured by the Straw Hat Luffy during this time. Think about it and get angry. PFF ha ha ha, it's really hard for you, Zephyr. Seeing Zephyr's helpless expression, Garp couldn't help laughing and patted his shoulder. Mouth said, difficult to do, but in fact the tears of laughter were all over the place. Well, the critical time has come. It's started. Who will be the first to advance will be revealed soon. Luffy or Sabo or that Fire Fist and Zoro. The old thieves in the New World on the other side are also approaching the critical point. The veterans stared intently at the major live broadcast screens. It seems to increase the suspense of the first promotion. Seeded players who were capable of competing for the first throne in the venue met the last wave of opponents in no particular order. I am number 1. Straw Hat Luffy grins confidently. Isho, Black Giant Fist swipes out. Rubber Grizzly Gun. Fire Fist. Ace's body ignited raging flames, and the flame fist swept across. Dragon Claw Fist. The jet black dragon claws struck hard at the pirate group. I won't lose either. Zoro grinned. Isho, 3 swords and 3,000 worlds. Finally, the glorious moment for this sun is coming. I am ready to accept the eyes of the world. Another venue, the White Horse Cavendish was full of intoxication, Prince of Sword and Stardust. The big moves of the top-seeded players in the major venues exploded in no particular order. The dazzling light occupies every big screen of the live broadcast. The world seemed to be silent. The hearts of people watching this historic moment can't help but feel tight. Is the first promotion finally going to be born? Who is it? One of the 3 Straw Hat brothers are the captains of the New World. The reporters in the live broadcast square stared nervously at the list of promotions on the screen, their hands trembled, and they couldn't wait to write a report. Boss, guess who will win? Muley N looked at Luo Lin, who was surrounded by Yin Yang Yan Yan. Therefore, the eyes of people nearby all fell on Luo Lin. It must be one of my grandsons. Garp laughed proudly. No. Roland, surrounded by cute little girls, spoke calmly, denying Garp's confident guess. Alas. Boss, do you really know? The crowd was immediately amazed. Rolling brother, who is the first to advance? Nami and Vivi asked urgently. An old guy. Roland's eyes narrowed at Vivi. Everyone was stunned. At the same time, the original fierce battle picture on the big screen of the live broadcast suddenly changed. The answer is revealed. The identity of the first promotion is a rickety old man. Chapter 390 Unidentified. Rocks Remnants. Open black lens bracket 4/4 for full order. Close black lens bracket. Wow! A shocking uproar resounded through the sea. Watch the final reveal on the big screen. Rickety old man reflected on the screen representing the first promotion. Watchung Square, everyone except Luo Lin couldn't help showing extreme shock and surprise. Who is this old man? Never seen it. Dark horse. Did it appear so soon? In Weisung Square, people stared at the rickety old man occupying the entire big screen, and couldn't help but discuss. Each face had a ghostly expression on it. After all, not long ago, none of them could have imagined that the final winner was not any seed player they were optimistic about. It's a little known, ill-looking, rickety old man who fell down with a push. Who is that old man? Could it be a legendary figure from a previous era? People in the square guessed at the same time, invariably agreed. Look in the direction of the heroes. If that old man is really a legend from a previous era, then the legends on their side must know each other. However, what shocked the young soldiers of Weisung was that those old people in Watchung, who have experienced hundreds of battles and have been in the sea for decades, seemed to be confused. Mr. Smoker, do you know who this old man is? Glasses Girl Tashigi asked Smoker on behalf of a group of young sailors. Smoker frowned, pondered for a long time but had no answer, so he looked at Tina not far away. Look at me, it's useless, and Tina doesn't know either. Tina spread her hands helplessly. Then he turned to look at Guillaume beside him. Sister Guillaume, do you know me? Guillaume frowned and shook his head after a moment. Make sure you've never seen the slightest report of that old man anywhere. Dad, don't you even know each other? Headquarters Elite Vice Admiral Momanga widened his eyes and looked at the group of elder soldiers who shook their heads in shock. I don't know. Former Vice Admiral Alfred shook his head. I've followed Roger all the way around the Great Route, and I've never seen this old ghost. The old man Mu Lian also shook his head. This old guy looks quite bad. Pay attention to the pirates next to him. I also feel that way, even through the screen, it's a little bit infiltrating. It was as if it had just climbed out of a grave, smelling of decay. And this smile makes me angry when I see it. The veterans had a solemn look on their faces. Mr. Garp, have you seen this man? A veteran looks at Garp. PFF'd, haha, I've never seen it before, the sea is so vast, and there are still such powerful people hiding. Garp laughed. You said, this old guy can't be a remnant of rocks, right? Veteran Colin's eyes widened with shocking conjecture. It is possible that after so many years, it has changed a lot, so we can't recognize it. This time he was also attracted by the monster fruit from rocks. Veteran Dean and the others nodded. The possibility of this conjecture is accepted. Not right. At this moment, the original Admiral Zephyr suddenly stopped drinking. It can't be the rock's remnants, I'm sure of that. Zephyr nodded firmly. Hearing this, the veterans couldn't help frowning again. As for Zephyr's judgment, they naturally won't doubt it. Boss Roland. Boss, Sister Crane. A group of veterans finally turned their attention to Roland and Suru. We really can't think of it. Since you already knew about it, boss, you should recognize him. Molly asked. No, I don't know either. Roland shook his head in denial. Never seen. Handled marine affairs for decades, also shook his head. Ah. Alas. The veterans and the little girls in front of them all looked surprised. Hey, darling, shouldn't that person be? Suru's beautiful eyes narrowed in an arc, making a guess in her heart. Ah. Roland nodded, confirming Suru Vice Admiral's conjecture. This is not the only government rat that got in this time. Then, Suru raised his eyebrows and asked. Everything has just begun, if I can't get away, they still have to ask Suru to you. Roland said apologetically. Weisung Headquarters Building. Yo-hoo-hoo-hoo, this old guy is not easy at all. Brooke smiled lowly. It's dangerous. Fishman Sample looks dignified. Even Shaki, your intelligence network never had the slightest information. Crocus was shocked. Well, never. Shaki shook his head solemnly. The sea is vast, and it is not surprising that there are one or two strong men who are not born, as long as it is not a remnant of the rocks. Rayleigh opened. Having said that, there was no relief between his brows and eyes. In this world, there is only one area of intelligence that I can't get into. Shaki spoke again. Could it be world government? The two major island live broadcast squares. When you see a rickety old man occupying an entire big screen. The reporters and spectators, who were closely watching the moment of the first promotion's birth, also widened their eyes in shock. Shock and disbelief were written all over their faces. After a brief silence. Live broadcast square, the uproar from the reporters and the audience instantly surged into the sky. The final result turned out to be, it's unbelievable. The first advancer of the conference is not any one of the seed players we are optimistic about. Dark Horse, the dark horse of this world-class event, appears. Who is this old man? Does anyone recognize the identity of this old man? This old man can't be a legend from a previous era. True and false. Are you a member of the Roger Pirates? Or the remnants of the rocks? When this possibility was raised by a journalist, the entire live broadcast square fell into a dead silence again. A blur of snowflakes flashed across the big screen of the Chi-Chi live broadcast. Immediately afterwards, the figure of the rickety old man that was originally reflected on the screen gradually faded, and finally disappeared from people's sight. It's been more than 100 years. The sea in this era is really interesting. A ghostly whisper of evil resounded on the twisted island land. Thank you, Demon Sword 111,555, for the reward from the boss. Thank you, Yao Dao 111, for the reward from the boss. Summer reading is fun every day, charge 100 and get 500 coupons. Ellipsis. Immediate top-up event time, August 7th to August 9th. Chapter 391 Sand Crocodile Still Eating Duck Eggs Open Black Lens Bracket 1/4 for Order Close Black Lens Bracket. The time is 9:16 in the morning. Of the brutal melee that gathered more than 100,000 strong men from all over the world, all over the ring venue, terrifying big moves exploded one after another. That was the final charge of the conference's seed-level contestants. If you want to win the first qualifying place in the conference, you will get a high-profile moment that everyone is watching. After the extreme movement, there was a long silence. The dazzling light bloomed on the big screen in the sky, attracting the contestants in the venue to raise their heads one after another. Anxious to watch the results that are about to be announced. Ahahaha, the outcome is already doomed, Faruru. With a head, a pretty young man with bright golden curly hair sniffs the roses. An intoxicated expression appeared on his handsome face. It must be me who will be the first to advance and get the much-anticipated chance. Cavendish stood among the comatose pirates and spoke narcissistically. Sorry. Quote. The white horse with the blue mane neighed happily. Should drink. Let's announce it soon, I can't wait. Cavendish's handsome face was filled with extreme joy. Chi-Chi, hung high in the sky on all 4 live broadcast screens, and a piece of overlapping snowflakes flashed. Next second. Gloomy old face full of wrinkles and age spots appeared on the screen and was known to everyone. Just for a moment. The bright smile on Cavendish's face solidified and disappeared. It was replaced by extreme consternation and disgust. His temples throbbed. The blue veins on his forehead burst out involuntarily. The originally handsome face was suddenly covered with clouds. No, underscore. It could even be said that he changed his face. What the hell is going on here? Who is this stinky old man? Isn't this Son the First? Cavendish screamed in disbelief. Abominable, abominable, abominable. Swish swish, a terrifying sword wind blew from the jungle clearing. Just like the legendary wind demon, Itachi. Wherever you go, everything is broken. Prairie Venue. Qinzhao, the pillar of the 12th generation of Hapo Navy, is still immersed in anger and cannot extricate himself. Grandpa, don't forget our original purpose. Master, it's almost time to calm down. Let's advance first and then let's talk about other things. Lao Kai and Abu persuaded tiredly. What the hell is that old guy? Without showing the mountains and the water, the seat selections were all overwhelmed as soon as the shot was made. The famous captain of the New World, Fist Ace, Straw Hat Monkey Luffy. The folks at Hapo Navy were buzzing. Just then, the atmosphere in the air suddenly changed. What did you say about the straw hat, Luffy? Qinzhao, who was sitting with anger, moved his ears, opened his eyes full of anger, and asked coldly. Yes, Pillar, it's the straw hat. Monkey Luffy. The named Hapo Navy member pointed to the list of promotions displayed on the big screen and spoke in fear. Monkey, Luffy Monkey Garp. So it is. Is that your grandson Garp? Qinzhao of the Cone rages. Boom, the mighty Conqueror Haki explodes. Hapo Navy members in front of Ling all tilted their heads back and passed out under the shock of Conqueror Haki. At the same time, the name and avatar of Qinzhao of the Cone jumped out of the list of finalists on the big screen again. Lao Kai, Abu. For his own, killing, promotion, Qinzhao of the Cone is ignorant. At this moment, his mind was still full of revenge. Since he can't beat Garp, let that bastard Garp watch him beat up his grandson. Straw Hat Monkey Luffy, your head is mine. ... At the same time, look at the dark horse that appeared on the screen. Old man, the contestants from all over the venue were in uproar and shock, and more of it was fear. Captain, it's a pity, I was almost able to show my face. White Bear Beppo said with a look of regret. By the way, who is this old man? He suddenly jumped out and grabbed everyone's limelight. How did he do it? Beppo asked incomprehensibly. Who knows? How much is hidden in this venue? Monsters must be extra careful. Death Surgeon Trafalgar Law looks solemn. This old man looks quite bad. Another place, Drake, whose head counted over 80, looked at the old man on the screen with a shocked expression. There will be unexpected dark horses in this conference. I have already counted this point. The magician Hawkins on the side said solemnly. By the way, where did that kid Hyaming go? Drake asked. I don't know. He seemed to say that he heard the music and went over there. The magician Hawkins pointed to 3 o'clock. Forget it, no matter what. He is. ... Swamp venue. Swish swish, in the swamp forest, a few dodge-fast shadows flashed. Several stiff-faced men suddenly flashed together. That old man, didn't he say that he should not be too public? He is too old to be old, and he is so pushy. The young man with serrated fangs gnashed his teeth, his face wrinkled with the bite of his teeth, revealing the true face under the human skin mask. Well, after all, he is our senior. Before coming, the Gorosei 5 elders have also said that they are not the ones who will obey orders. After staying in the ice for so many years, it's hard to come out and take a breath, just let them be. It doesn't matter. Anyway, their combat power is indeed very impressive. World Government Secret Intelligence Organization Zero spoke up. There shouldn't be anything wrong with the other weirdo with the speaker. One asked again. The words of that person are probably still there. Dance. ... The island bordering the Swire venue. Damn it, it's all because of the stupid queen. Everyone else has been promoted, but I haven't met anyone, and I've lost my face. Yuluti gritted her teeth bitterly. Idiot girl over there, when I don't exist, I have heard it. The huge Brachiosaurus with a body length of tens of meters shouted loudly, and the ground shook as it ran. Just for you to hear, idiot. At this moment, the conference has started so far. The number of strong people who are still eating duck eggs, in addition to. Still, The beasts on the road and the cadres of the ant, there it is. The powerful Shichibukai crocodile. Crunchy, bastard Jinbei. Chapter 392 Grumpy Sand Crocodile. Sanji was killed. Open black lens bracket 2/4 close black lens bracket. Jinbei, what the hell are you trying to do? Shichibukai crocodile's angry roar resounded through the forest. Fishman karate 5000 watts Junchen. In response to him was another powerful punch from the Shichibukai Sea Knight Jinbei. Bastard Jinbei. Crocodile's forehead twitched wildly. Swing the Desert King Kong sword to face Jinbei's straight punch. The powerful shock wave of boom scatters in all directions, and the flying sand and fallen leaves rise in the wind, covering the sky and the sun. Crocodile's face was gloomy and watery, and his heart was already extremely angry. This fishman bastard, did you take the wrong medicine today? I don't remember provoke you. Crocodile growled wildly in his heart. 10 minutes ago. The martial arts conference officially started. The long-awaited Straw Hat, Fire Fist, Sabo, Zoro and others are scrambling to land on the battlefield. If you want to win the top prize of the conference, you will become the #1 promotion. Crocodile is no exception. Over the past few months, it has been shrouded in the brilliance of heroes and legends. Although Crocodile didn't say anything, there was a sigh of relief in his heart. So he also wants to use this world-class stage to show his face and brush his presence. As Shichibukai, he couldn't lose to Luffy, not a hairy boy like Zoro. However, just as Crocodile was eagerly preparing to show off, he was stopped by Jinbei, the sea hero who was also Shichibukai. Without saying a word, he launched a violent attack like a storm. Interference from Jinbei has seriously slowed down Crocodile's plan. No, It might be said that it completely restrained him. Since it was nearly 20 minutes since the start of the conference, the head count on his hand was still a poor duck's egg. And those, Luffy and others, who seemed to be little devils in his eyes, had already advanced. This stark and huge contrast, how can Crocodile endure? However, no matter how angry he was, there was really nothing he could do in a short time. Because of the opponent in front of him, Hexia Jinbei is not a simple thing. And before he came this time, he had obviously made adequate preparations, focusing on the weakness of his rustling fruit. It was clear that it was for him. This is also the most annoying point of Crocodile. So far, he still doesn't know the reason why Jinbei deliberately targeted him. There was no intersection between the two parties at all before. Intersection. A flash of light flashed in Fishman Crocodile's mind, as if he had thought of something. Jinbei bastard, I said you weren't here for the Arlong gang from East Blue Kokoyasi village. Crocodile asked negatively. Hearing this, Jinbei's attacking action stagnated. You finally remembered, although the old man and Arlong had parted ways more than 10 years ago, but no matter what, they were my little brothers. I know the crimes they committed in East Blue, but 1 yardage is 1 yardstick. I will go to the Kokoyasi village to apologize. They died tragically, and the old man can't do anything after all. This is the last brotherly affection this old man has for them. Jinbei said solemnly. Goo ha ha ha. Hearing this, Crocodile did not smile with pride, sarcasm and schadenfreude. What's so funny? Jinbei's face darkened slightly. I'm laughing that you want to find a place, but even the target is wrong. Crocodile roared. What do you mean? It's not that the one who killed your little brothers. I have the ability to find that one. Crocodile laughed sarcastically. Gah. The expression on Jinbei's face froze. Next moment. Fishman karate wa Jungchen. Bastard Jinbei, I said it's not me anymore. You have a problem with your ears or your brain. Crocodile was furious. You sand crocodile is the most cunning. Do you think this old man will easily believe your nonsense? Jinbei is righteous. True heart, the old man still understands the truth that persimmons should be soft and soft. Through Jinbei's True thoughts, I%. Grumpy Sand Crocodile, scolding old Jinbei online. Wow, a blue line of fire swept across the sky. Hey, Jinbei, Crocodile, you guys are still here, let's learn from each other. It's really interesting. Phoenix Marco laughed. He's meow, it's not that this stinky salted fish has been stalking me. Crocodile yelled emotionally. Marco. The look is getting weirder. I always feel that the sand crocodile in front of me has changed a lot compared to the time when I was alone and arrogantly challenged my father. If he used to be a lonely wolf king in the desert, now he is. Attained 1.2 hectares. Really deserves to be a hero who gives dad a headache. Okay, you two can play slowly. I'll go to Ace and the others to join them, and I'll make a big one later. Marco looked at the Taiku venue in the distance with a smile on his face. At this moment, a broken battlefield in the middle of the island. Straw Hat Luffy, Sabo, Zoro, Usopp, etc. The little monsters of Wei Sung, as well as Ace, Jesus, Lazyru and others reunite. Ah, what a pity, it's almost first place. Straw Hat Luffy kicked the small stone under his feet regretfully. Ha ha ha, Luffy, you, fourth, not just a little bit, but 3, that's right. Ace corrected. Ace, don't laugh at Luffy, you're still there, I'm behind me. Sabo rode. Ace. As expected of the commander-in-chief of Sabo, if the old man hadn't been there, you would have been the first. Bullshit way. The slave family has also been promoted, yo. Shemale Bentham appears in circles. Ha ha ha, we were lucky this time, and we didn't encounter any strong opponents, but the battle is far from over, and we can't take it lightly now. Sabo concludes with a summary. Oh. The crowd drank in unison. Luffy, Zoro, by the way, have you seen Sanji? Usopp looked around, but he couldn't help frowning when he didn't see Sanji. That slut cook. Do whatever he does. Zoro pouted. If it's Sanji, it will be fine. His name is already on the promotion list. Straw Hat Luffy points to number 19 on the big screen list. That's right, that's weird. Usopp just wanted to nod. Next second. His eyes widened suddenly, and horror was written all over his face. Shan. Sanji's headshot and name disappeared. What the hell happened? The black-haired swordsman Lucio also screamed in horror. That sassy cook. Zoro, who had been indifferent to Sanji before, now unconsciously clenched the 3 swords around his waist, and his face was full of worry. Luffy, everyone, Sanji. Sanji, was he killed? Usopp said tremblingly. Chapter 393 Sanji and Germa 66 Open black lens bracket 3/4 for full custom order close black lens bracket. Hey, everyone, look, Sanji. Why did Sanji's name disappear from the promotion list? When the avatar and name belonging to Sanji projected on the big screen faded and disappeared. In Wei Sung Plaza, people who noticed this change immediately showed shock. What the hell is going on? Sanji. What the hell is that kid Sanji doing? Chef Zeph, Sanji will be fine. The chefs at East Blue, SC Restaurant Bharati panicked and shouted in horror. Even if it's Sanji and Sanji who are the least. The pair of coals who deal with it, they are in a hurry at this time. Sanji. The red-footed Zeph clenched his fists subconsciously, his eyes turning red. Is the continuation of his dream, and he regards it as his own son. At this moment, it's not just the chefs in Bharati who are worried about what happened to Sanji. What happened to Sanji? Who the hell shot Sanji? So powerful Sanji, who has the ability to defeat him? ... The young warriors of Wei Sung shouted in worry. Damn, what happened? Sanji is definitely not a weak person. Although Sanji is still far from mature, he can't be defeated in such a short time. Boy, don't do anything. Ah. Wei Sung's veteran instructors also looked worried. Even the chief instructor Zephyr couldn't help but grit his teeth at the moment. Although the boy Sanji is sometimes too lecherous, he is also a kind and just good boy, and is deeply appreciated by the veterans. In particular, he also cooks a good dish, which makes everyone in Waesung full of praise. Veterans sometimes want to drink, and they will ask Sanji to help with the 2 dishes. Sanji never refused. Terms of interpersonal relationships, Sanji's popularity is also one of the best in the entire Waesung. Now that something happened, it naturally affected everyone's minds. Brother Rolling, is that guy Sanji alright? Even the little girls such as Vivi and Koala are a little worried at this moment. Don't worry, not dead yet. Roland said calmly. Hear the words. Everyone's hanging hearts finally let go. Hey, the stupid bird of Morgan's above, no. Hurry up and switch the screen, I plucked your hair. Mulien yelled at the phone bug. At the same time, Morgan's of the high-altitude hot air balloon headquarters lost his bird feathers again. Frightened, he quickly pressed the broadcast interface. Waesung's big screen flickered. After a while, it was switched to where Sanji was. In front of Sanji, who fell unconscious, standing there were several people wearing fancy clothes. Germa 66 Shaki, you said those fancy boys are the ones from War House. In the stands of the headquarters building, Crocus couldn't help frowning. Gelma, an army of evil that originated from the North Blue, we seem to have encountered it before. Fishman Samble fell into memory. I did, and with that. Judge was the current marine scientist Vegapunk. Rayleigh nodded affirmatively. Yo-hoo-hoo-hoo, then again, the pink-haired little girl in Germa is really cute. If possible, please let me see. Bang, the iron fist of justice from Crocus sanctioned Brook's bullshit. Shouldn't the focus now be on Sanji? After all, we've eaten a lot of Sanji's delicacies, bastard. Wait, the situation seems a little wrong, that little girl seems to be protecting Sanji. Shaki, who is proficient in lip language, can't help but look suspicious. Alas! The little girls screamed in amazement in the square. What? Nani? It was followed by the shocking and strange screams of the big men. Sanji's siblings and dad. Are those bells and whistles Sanji's relatives? Hearing the shocking truth revealed by Roland, Nami and Vivi suddenly widened their beautiful eyes in shock. It seems. It's true. Pay attention to those people's eyebrows, they have the same curly eyebrows as Sanji. Robin and Koala found a blind spot. I remember, Sanji seems to have mentioned that he was born in North Blue in the Going Township report. Kaya nodded. But are they really Sanji's relatives? If so, why did they beat Sanji so hard? Makino was puzzled. Agaga, I know who they are. The girl Alice seemed to have thought of something, and suddenly exclaimed. Those gimmicky killer Matt is the Vinsmoke family, North Blue's famous Germa 66. The girl Alice revealed the identity of the killer who defeated Sanji. Germa 66, what is that? Nami and the others tilted their heads cutely. Germa 66, a powerful military country in North Blue, one of the World Government Alliance countries, also known as the Army of Evil, the War House, is a sea mercenary specializing in dealing with national wars. Of Marine's Complete Intelligence Department, spoke calmly. The basic situation of Germa 66 to everyone in detail. So it is. Everyone nodded knowingly. I can't believe that Kid Sanji is still hiding this secret. Germa's science and technology is indeed a good thing. I remember that. Judge is also a scientist. He used to be Vegapunk's partner, and I was involved in that operation. The veterans started talking. Is this the time to say this? Yes, that Kid Sanji is still in crisis. Those people in Germa are just like the legends, like machines without emotions. Even my son and brother are so ruthless that they want me to catch them. Except the little girl, all the others will be beaten up. Everyone is gearing up. Although they said so, they really have nothing to do right now. After all, the venue is still a long way from Watchung. Now they can only act as a bystander, paying attention through the live broadcast on the big screen. Come come. Suddenly, Muley and screamed together, and a radiance appeared on his face. It's finally here, Luffy boys. We can't do it, so let these disciples do it for us. Those who dare to touch our Watchung are really courting death. Looking at Sabo, Luffy and others appearing one after another from the screen. The hanging hearts of the people in Waesung Plaza finally completely let go. What followed was a burst of cheers. Chapter 394 The monsters are here. Judge panicked. Open black lens bracket 4/4 for order close black lens bracket. Somewhere in the martial arts venue. Ha ha ha. Forgive the sturdy man with dark hair. Vinsmoke Yuji looked at the unconscious Sanji and let out a wanton and arrogant laugh. Sanji, after so many years, you really haven't improved at all, and you are still a complete failure. Spark Red's boss Vinsmoke IG opened his mouth mockingly. A failed product is a failed product. Even if it is plated with a layer of gold, it cannot change the essence of him being a failed product. Electric Shock Blue Dick Vinsmoke Niji laughed sarcastically. Enough, shut up, you've done enough, let's stop there. The head of the poisonous fan, Vinsmoke Reiju's pretty face is frosty, and she speaks coldly. Seeing Sanji lying unconscious on the ground, Reiju's pretty face flashed a hint of distress involuntarily. She is the eldest sister of the Vinsmoke family. He was also the first person to be transformed by the bloodline factor. That Reiju has not been completely transformed due to the immaturity of the original technology. Like Sanji, she still retains normal human emotions. Because of this, she is the only one in Germa who cares about Sanji except Mother Sora. Whenever Sanji was bullied by his brothers when he was a child, Reiju would quietly heal his wounds. 13 years ago, when she arrived at East Blue in the Kingdom of Germa, she secretly broke the prison bars and let Sanji go. Reiju, what do you mean? We're just the same as before. Education and education are useless failures, you just need to watch by the side. Forgive Vinsmoke Yuji's cold opening. If Sanji is really useless, what is the explanation for the injuries on your body? Admit it, Sanji has become stronger now. Even if there is no transformation or battle suit, he is not weaker than you. Reiju retorted sternly. Hearing this, IG, Niji, and Yuji all have blue veins on their faces, which is because of anger. Because of what Reiju said. Reiju, you've been helping Sanji since a while ago, what do you mean? Sparks Red IG asked rhetorically. Also 13 years ago, Sanji escaped from the iron prison. You didn't do anything to betray Germa, did you? Electric Shock Blue Niji's eyes are cold. Reiju was silent. Not far away, Vinsmoke Judge, the leader of Germa with a peculiar mustache, was also silent. HMPH, what do you mean by getting stronger? In my opinion, Sanji is still as useless as before, but because he was born a few seconds earlier than me, do you really think he can stand on my head? Forgive Yuji-2's unhappy face, and his figure flashed to the side of Sanji who was in a coma. Raised his right hand, he was about to step down again, in order to vent the humiliation and pain of being severely beaten and injured by Sanji. Stop. Reiju drank it tenderly. What was greeted was Yuji's mocking expression. Shoo, just as Yuji's big foot was about to land on the door of Sanji's face. A gust of wind suddenly blew across the jungle glade battlefield. Next second, Yuji found that his right foot seemed to be blocked by something, and he couldn't. That's it. You guys, make Sanji your partner like this. Straw Hat Luffy spoke in a deep voice, his expression serious and serious. There is absolutely no silly model, you or that. Straw Hat Boy. Looking at the Straw Hat Boy who suddenly appeared in front of him, Yuji's mocking face suddenly showed a look of shock. However, there was no half-pointed force under his feet, and instead, the force became more and more intense. However, Luffy's instep never wavered. The sound of "King King" sword being unsheathed echoed clearly in the mountains and forests. There was a sudden wind in the field. Sharp and powerful. It was an invisible sword intent. I am sorry, although my chef is really annoying, but not everyone can step on it. Three Swords Pirate Hunter, Roranoa Zoro. Zoro, you are really clean today. Sure enough, the friends you have on weekdays actually have the best relationship. Usopp opened his mouth. What do you say I'm not? I don't talk nonsense. Zoro immediately denied it again and again with excitement. Really, our friendship. Ha ha ha. Everyone laughed and walked out of the dense forest one after another and appeared in front of everyone in Germa. You are. Look at the familiar faces who have seen the newspaper before. Everyone in Germa couldn't help but change their expressions. Even Sanji can be called a monster, you must also. Forgive Yuji. Before he finished speaking, the expression on his face changed suddenly. Boom, the mighty conqueror haki burst out from Luffy, sweeping the storm. Sanji is not trash. Luffy roared angrily. The second gears of steam and armament haki are also instantly attached to the right foot. A powerful force erupted in an instant. Of Yuji's full-scale activation of the battlesuit is completely unmatched. Boom, accompanied by a loud bang, Yuji's body turned into a cannonball and flew upside down for more than 100 meters. Asshole. Don't get too carried away. The veins on Vinsmoke IG and Niji's faces skyrocketed. The battle suit on his body burst into flames and electric lights, and crossed towards Luffy. The dilapidated open-air battlefield flashed two vague shadows again. A dark dragon claw blocked IG's spark. Sorry, Germa 66, if you still want to bully the less, I am afraid it won't work. Sabo said solemnly. On the other side, electric light and knife light shine. Bastard, do you want to fight me? Vinsmoke Niji looked gloomily at the three swordsmen in front of him. Sorry, I came here by accident. Zoro, whose body moved ahead of his mind, grinned. Sanji, are you alright? Great, Sanji is still alive. Sanji, wake up. Usopp and the others were the first to surround the unconscious Sanji. Usopp, don't worry, Whitebeard's Phoenix is coming soon. Usopp rode. Hello, Marco. Ace greeted the blue line of fire in the sky. Come. The blue line of fire flashed, and the figure of the Phoenix Marco appeared in the air. Call. Great. Seeing Marco's arrival, Usopp and the others let out a long breath. Other side, I saw the powerhouses who were constantly gathering. Especially after seeing the two captains of the four emperors Whitebeard, the Phoenix Marco, Fire Fist Ace, and the red-haired cadres of the four emperors Usopp and Laziru, IG Niji, who confronted Sabo and Zoro, had their curled eyebrows suddenly twitched. Jump. As for what has been there, the leader of Germa, Vinsmoke Judge, who was watching from afar, is no longer calm at this moment. There was obvious panic on the old face with the strange mustache. Chapter 395 Plan to steal home, beasts, and coalition army open black lens bracket 1/4 close black lens bracket. Gu Dong, a pitted glade. Germa's clone army stood far away, and Germa's leader Vinsmoke Judge rolled his Adam's apple. Imperceptible. However, it revealed the panic in his heart at the moment. His 3/3 transformed sons have no feelings and no fear. But he is still a normal human. It's natural to feel stressed, to feel panic and fear. The encounter with his long-lost son Sanji here is an unplanned accident. The beating of Sanji by IG, Niji and Yuji 3, in his opinion, is just the same family problem as before. Unusual, no big deal. Who could have imagined that the situation would suddenly turn into a big one? The Straw Hat Boy who broke out Conqueror Haki, Sabo the Dragon King with amazing pressure, Zoro the Pirate Hunter Zoro who is full of swordsmanship, and finally, there are even the captains and cadres of the two Sea Emperors in the New World. What a powerful force this is. Even if they all go up, there is not much chance of winning. This cheap son, whom he regards as a useless failure, seems to have found a great backstage. No, underscore. He should have known about this long ago. After all, the place where Sanji is staying is called Waesung, the realm of the legendary hero. This is no longer an ordinary family ethics issue. It has risen to that city, a provocation to the hero. Judge believes that with the heroic arrogance, it is not enough to blame them for defeating Sanji normally in the convention. Afterwards, it will not be pursued for it, and it will fall into the limelight. Of course. The premise is that they will no longer have an intersection with Germa. And the problem is precisely here. An hour ago, learning that the leader of the conference, the true identity of the Lord of Waesung, is the former hero Roland. The original purpose of Judge was changed. He originally wanted to wait for the end of the conference to go to Waesung in person to discuss the North Blue conquest plan with the hero Luolin of the Luolin and Wa organization to restore the supreme glory of Germa's past. Never thought that, hero, you shouldn't be watching right now. Judge couldn't help thinking. The tall body trembled imperceptibly. The unease inside was getting deeper and deeper. But as the arrogant leader of Germa 66, at this time, he can only pretend to be ruthless and calm, and continue. Motionless. Bang, and, King, were two loud noises again. Spark Red IG was knocked away by Sabo's dragon claw. On the other side, Niji was also slashed by Zoro's 3 swords and flew out. The other hand, Zoro was also stunned by the current attacking the electricity, and a few wisps of smoke came out. Cough cough. Cough sounded. It was Sanji who had woken up from Marco's regenerative flames. Sanji. Sanji, you're awake. Seeing Sanji awake, Usopp and the others all shouted in surprise, and finally let go of their dangling hearts. Sanji. Another female voice with joy rang out. That's Reiju. Sensing Reiju's approach, Usopp, Frankie, Lucio and others were all alert. Who are you? Look at how you dress, you're one of them. Even if it's a beautiful woman, I won't show mercy. Usopp threatened. Cough cough. Who was blocked by the crowd, sat up while coughing and pulled the corner of Usopp's shirt. No, Usopp, she's my sister. Sanji stopped him. The dilapidated forest battlefield fell into a momentary silence because of Sanji's words. Next second, a shocking uproar broke out. Ah! Sister, this beautiful big sister is your sister Sanji. True and false. What the hell is going on? Usopp and the others all shouted in shock. The four of Marco, Ace, Usopp and Reizalu also shook their heads in confusion. Luffy, the straw hat that was Haki not long ago, is no longer the same Haki now, and his jaw dropped to the ground in shock. Look carefully. Zoro's body trembled involuntarily from the current. That woman is shaking and her eyebrows are shaking, and the boys from before are shaking too. Chef, please explain the shaking to me. Zoro spoke intermittently. Those three are indeed my brothers, and the man over there is my father. Sanji spoke affirmatively, biting especially hard when he said the words father and brother. Everyone present, even an idiot like Luffy, could deeply hear the resentment contained in Sanji's words. Sanji turned out to be Germa, turned out to belong to the Vinsmoke family. But there seems to be a story in it. Sabo frowned thoughtfully. Sanji's brother and father. What kind of brother and father is this? How can there be such a ruthless father and brother to his son and brother? Usopp and the others who had reacted asked again and again. Sanji, this is your family problem, but we are still partners. As long as you speak today, I will help you beat them all away. Luffy, who has always been carefree, is serious for the second time today. There was a clicking sound between the palms and fingers. Others in the room also nodded in support. Feeling the hostility from the Straw Hat and the others, cold sweat was already running down the back of Judge, who was motionless. Even the 1, 2, 4 3 brothers who have no fear and panic feelings, can clearly feel the powerful oppression that blows towards them. Completely reversed compared to when they met Sanji not long ago. They never thought that one day they would be so crushed by the trash younger brother in their eyes. Sanji. Reiju pursed her lips, and her pretty face was full of nervousness and worry. On one side is the younger brother whose mother asked her to protect before she died, and on the other side is the father who she cannot defy. Being caught in the middle is the hardest one. Thank you, Luffy, everyone, but don't need it anymore, let me cut it myself later. Finally, Sanji spoke up. Everyone in the room was stunned. The tensed muscles of Luffy, Zoro, Sabo and others relaxed, respecting Sanji's wishes. Usopp wanted to ask something, but was stopped by Usopp. Judge on the opposite side was quietly relieved. However, it didn't take long. Judge's heart that had just been put down suddenly lifted up again, as if he had heard something incredible. These people are going to attack the 4 Emperors and 100 Beasts pirates and the allied army of thieves. Chapter 396 Father and Daughter. Tyrant Baron. Open black lens bracket 2/4 request for order close black lens bracket. The situation is almost the same. I am only responsible for providing information. It is up to you to decide whether to go or not. Marco opened his mouth and told everyone what he had discovered. The Taiku venue, the base of the alliance of the 2 big 4 emperors. Usopp held his breath subconsciously, his eyes widened. Going to go, definitely going. The youthful youth in the straw hat gleamed in his eyes. The pirates of the 4 emperors of the New World must be more powerful to chop. Zoro grinned at Isho, ready to move. The threshold of the New World, is it coming so soon? Haired swordsman Lucio and the fishman young Nobel looked at each other and nodded. Wait. Give me a moment. Usopp and Candle 3 Gatino Zichi chanted. That's the alliance of the 2 big 4 emperors in the New World. Galtino emphasized with a look of horror. And Mr. Marco also said earlier that there are at least 5,000 imperial elites there. In comparison, our number is too small. Usopp panicked. Ha, Usopp, don't be afraid, Dad will always be there. Beside you, consider it a trial. Usopp laughed and patted Usopp on the shoulder. The 4 Emperor thieves and the 4 Emperor 100 Beast pirates, we will have a fight with them sooner or later. Marco also said before that almost all the officials of the 2 emperors have been dispatched. This is our chance. Sabo nodded solemnly. Although this action is very risky, it is also the best trial. At the same time, if it is successful, it will also show the world the power of the new generation of their Chinese organization. Let's use the Imperial Alliance of the New World to test our cultivation achievements. Sabo clenched his fists. Oh. The crowd drank in unison. He, although I didn't win the first place just now, but the number 1 in 3 hours 3 must be me. Straw Hat Luffy said confidently. Ha, Luffy, the threshold for the New World is very high, especially the pirate group of the 4 emperors, even a bat soldier is very strong. Ace reminded with a laugh, and then the conversation changed. So the number 1 in the end must be mine. The number of people who will be defeated at the end of the competition is also counted as one of me. Zoro is in high spirits. Then I'll come too. The crowd responded. It is already the Taiku venue where the 2 big and 4 emperors, coalition forces are entrenched, and it is regarded as a monster spawning point. If you're going, at least bring Captain Karak with that. Jinbei. Candle 3 had no choice but to compromise and made his own demands. The crowd nodded. After all, they are 2 Shichibukai-level monsters, and they are indispensable. Negotiation is over. Everyone ignored the stunned Germa crowd and turned around. Prepare to call Crocodile and Yuji, together to steal the Royal Allied forces. Until a good moment after Sabo and others left. Pretending to be calm, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time, extreme shock and disbelief appeared on the old face. That is the alliance of the 4 emperors and 100 Beasts pirates and the 4 emperors pirates. No matter which one stomps their feet, it can make the world tremble. However, The mere 230 people were going to challenge the coalition of the two big 4 emperor-level pirate regiments. This is literally killing. Even 100 lives is not enough. Maid, what are these young monsters thinking about, father? Just when Judge was still in the midst of this huge shock, Reiju, dressed in a pink battle suit, floated up and woke Judge from the shock. Is something wrong? Judge still pretended to be calm. Thanks to the blessings of these 3 idiot brothers, the one from Weisung might have noticed us. Reiju pointed to those phone bugs in the tree. What did you say? Reiju, you. Ig and Niji's faces suddenly darkened. Judge waved his hand to stop the noise of his sons. With Reiju's reminder, Judge finally recalled his main purpose. Because of Sanji's matter, if they go to Weisung to discuss, the result will not be very good. In order to restore Germa's glory, today's plan, they must do something to remedy it. Judge's face was wrinkled, and after a moment of silence, he seemed to have made up his mind. Reiju, sons, get ready to go. Judge said solemnly. Go. Where to go? Ig, Niji, and Yuji are puzzled. Swire venue. At this moment, Wachung Plaza. Judging their destination from the marching routes of their young little monsters. There was an uproar in the square. PFF'd, ha ha ha, as expected of my grandchildren. Ha ha ha, as expected of what we taught, that's how it is supposed to be. What are the beasts and auntie, just do it and you're done. Go ahead, boys. Garp and the veterans burst into laughter. Sabo and the others are going to the Taiku venue. Koala widened her beautiful eyes and murmured in shock. What the hell are those guys going to do? It's not a worry at all. Nami complained. There are the beasts and the resident. I have confirmed just now that the cadres of the 2 great and 4 emperors are almost absent. Robin, who quickly checked the situation at the Taiku venue, said. Agaga, they really want to make a scene. The girl Alice said with emotion. But, Luffy, are they really okay? It's too dangerous. Makino looked worried. Of living in Weisung, she is no longer an ignorant village flower in East Blue's small village. Makino is also well aware of the horrors of the New World Sea Emperor. Crocodile, 2 Shichibukai from Jinbei, the captains of the 1st, 2nd and 2nd divisions of the Whitebeard Pirates, the red-haired Usopp and Rezalu, plus those of us. Little monsters, self-protection is no problem, specifically how big the trouble is, it depends on them. Chief Advisor Suru analyzed. Robin wrinkled Joan's nose, keenly aware of the word. Is there a problem? Suru narrowed his narrow eyes and glanced at Robin. No problem. Under the aura of Suru's palace, even Robin was defeated and nodded weakly. Luo Lin, who noticed this scene, grinned helplessly. Next second, Roland seemed to be aware of something and raised his eyebrows. Of the headquarters building behind them, 2 people, approached. That was the Shichibukai tyrant Bartholomew and his daughter. Chapter 397 Roland and Koala's rooftop story. Open black lens bracket 3/4 closed black lens bracket. The time is 9:30 in the morning. The battle is in full swing on the top 10 venue islands. The roaring sound came one after another. More daring little monsters are starting to make big news. Attracted the attention of the audience outside the venue. At this moment, a corner of the martial arts venue. A group of pirates meet a certain man. Gudong. Sizzle. The sound of the pirates breathing cold air and nervously swallowing saliva came one after another. Then that. He. This. The tall silent man who was sitting with Erlang's legs crossed not far away, blocking the way in front of them. The emotions of the members of the Bonnie Pirates ranged from shock to nervousness and finally to panic. So much so that not even a single sentence could be uttered. Shichibukai, Tyrant Bear. Bonnie, the brawny pirate in overalls, screamed. The identity of the person blocking the road is revealed. Just as his voice fell, few dozen meters away, the tyrant bear who was sitting like a stone statue and flipping through the Bible in his hand moved. Close-up of Bible, pop, in hand. Shichibukai Bartholomew Bear slowly got up, and his gloves came off, revealing a special palm like a feline meatball underneath. The pressure is amazing. I've been waiting for you for a long time, Bonnie Pirates. Shichibukai Bartholomew Bear with the name of Tyrant speaks. A magnetic voice floated over this clearing. Voice is very nice, but in the ears of everyone in the Bonnie Pirates, it is no different from the devil's ravings. Why the hell is this? Why is the tyrant bear staring at us? It's unreasonable, and now there are pirates from the 4 emperors in this venue. Go find them. We are just passing little pirates. The people of the Bonnie Pirates broke down and shouted. Although Captain is one of this year's supernovas. But these crew members are not very good. Half of them are chefs that Bonnie tricked to take care of the captain's big stomach. The combat power is predictable. In the face of the fierce and famous tyrant bear, naturally few people can keep calm. Captain Bonnie, this is really bad. Even the second in command on the boat was trembling with fear at this moment, and his heart was shrinking. Crunch. 4. The fear and withdrawal of his subordinates. Supernova, big stomach girl jewelry. Bonnie seems unheard of. Beginning to the end, her eyes only fell on the Shichibukai tyrant bear not far away. Pretty face looked complicated and inexplicable, and the white silver teeth were crunching. Shuquan was clenched so tightly that Ling's knuckles were turning white. Captain Bonnie, you don't mean to. A group of worthless things. If you are afraid, hurry and hide to the side. Jewelry. Bonnie opened his mouth coldly. After all, no waiting, the partners reacted. Bonnie's slender feet lightly tapped on the ground, and his figure suddenly swept out. Finally willing to see me, you idiot. Bonnie's expression was bitter and resentful, and he kept shouting like a coquettish girl. The right foot kicked the tyrant bag mercilessly. Shoo, is just a trance kung fu. Bonnie's kick missed. Captain Bonnie. Watch the tyrant bear who suddenly flashes behind Bonnie. The pirates of the Bonnie Pirates screamed in horror. Let's travel together. The tyrant bear's soft, magnetic voice sounded in Jewelry Bonnie's ear. Bonnie's delicate body trembled unconsciously, his eyes were even more red, and he was about to cry. Next moment. Boom, sounded softly. A huge air bear's paw wrapped her body and sent her far away in an instant. Bastard bear. Where did you get Captain Bonnie to? What the hell did you do to our captain? Disappearance of the captain. Several of Bonnie's main combatants overcome their natural fear of Shichibukai. Roaring and killing the tyrant bear. Boom. Boom boom boom. One after another, the air bear's paws wrapped Bonnie's people and flew away. And finally, the tyrant bear himself. Boom. 9:43 in the morning. In Waisung Plaza we're still in shock and excitement at the bold moves of Sabo, Straw Hat Luffy and others. A moment. The expressions on the faces of Garp, Zephyr, Suru, Guillaume, Mulien, and Rayleigh from the headquarters building froze, as if they had noticed something. Unanimously, they all looked up. Look at the sky in a certain direction overseas. What's the matter? Noticing the slight change in the expressions of Luo Lin and the others, Nami asked in a puzzled voice. It seems. What's coming? Alice, a girl who is proficient in observation hockey, and Koala's uncertain path. Koala, come with me. Just when Koala frowned and pondered what it was, Roland's voice suddenly sounded in her ear. Ah! Koala came back to his senses in hindsight. Staring blankly at Luo Lin's outstretched hand, he was a little stunned for a while. What are you still doing? Grab my hand. Roland greeted. Ah, oh. Finally determined that her mentor Luo Lin was calling her Koala, and subconsciously looked up at the majestic Suru Vice Admiral. Seeing Suru nod, he held Luo Lin's big hand under the envious eyes of Nami, Vivi and other little sisters. Feel the temperature from Roland's hand. Koala's small heart was thumping, and the beating speed couldn't help speeding up, and her pretty face was blushing with joy. But only for a moment. People in the vicinity only felt their eyes flicker. Next second, Roland disappeared with Koala in an instant. It appeared again, and it was already on the rooftop of the headquarters building. Standing on the edge of the rooftop, looking at the people below. A look of doubt appeared on Koala's delicate little face. What did the instructor take me to do on the rooftop? Koala thought to himself, tilting her head in confusion. Next second, Koala's mind began to diverge. Of a plot from a book I borrowed from my little sister Vivi. The male protagonist brings the girl to the uninhabited rooftop, and what happens after that is usually. Thinking of this, Koala's little face was flushed instantly, like a boiled prawn. It was hot. No, no, no. Looking at Roland in front of him, Koala's heart was numb. Thousands of thoughts run through my mind. Gritting his teeth one last time, he slowly closed his beautiful eyes. Quietly waiting for the take from the hero of the story. Pop, Koala waited not for a kiss, but for Roland's finger. It hurts. It hurts. Koala squatted on the ground holding her forehead, her mouth pouting, her face puzzled. Read less books from Vivi in the future. Roland has black lines all over his head. Ah. Knowing that she was going to be wrong, Koala immediately flushed with shame again. Can't wait to find a hole to dig in. The last scene was not found. However, a bear's paw-shaped mark suddenly appeared on the ground of the rooftop. There is also a beautiful girl with a good figure lying in the mark of the bear's paw. Chapter 398 Uncle Bear's Daughter. Koala was shocked. Open black lens bracket 4/4 close black lens bracket. Boom, sounded softly. Koala, who was squatting in the corner of the rooftop and immersed in shyness, woke up. Koala turned around subconsciously. Looking at the huge bear's paw-shaped mark not far behind, a suspicious look appeared on his little face. This bear's paw seems to be. Koala Vivi frowned. Wait, that person is. Koala saw the beautiful girl in stockings lying quietly in the center of the mark. One of this year's supernovas, Jewelry Bonnie. Koala, who recognized the identity of the beautiful girl, couldn't help but let out a coquettish voice. Just as her voice fell, the boy in the bear's paw mark suddenly opened his eyes. A carp jumped up. Where is this big stomach girl? Jewelry Bonnie glanced at Koala. Waiting, Koala replied, and ran to the edge of the rooftop again. Looking at the crowded square below. Especially after feeling the powerful auras like the sea. The big stomach girl Bonnie's beautiful eyes suddenly widened to the limit. Former Admiral Zephyr, Marine Hero Garpin. Could this be that Wei Sung? Jewelry Bonnie murmured in shock. Hey, Jewelry Bonnie, can you explain why you are here and the power that sent you to us? Koala looked at Jewelry Bonnie with a serious look. Bearing outfit, stockings and suspenders, and the big stomach girl in hot pants turned around, but did not respond to Koala. The sight of a pair of beautiful eyes is only firmly locked on the other person on the rooftop. You are. Looking at the handsome man standing calmly not far away. The supernova Jewelry Bonnie, who has a reward of over 100 million yuan, trembled uncontrollably because of the extreme shock. Hero Roland. Could she not recognize the man not far away? The world more than an hour ago was this man's time. One of the heroes who defeated the Sea Lord Rocks 36 years ago, the mysterious Lord of Wei Sung, the New World's #1 swordsman, the man behind a series of major events that have dominated the sea in recent months. Also there is the leader of the martial arts event that is currently underway, this hero who has disappeared from the world for 36 years and reappears again. There are too many shocking points in him. Jewelry Bonnie never dreamed that he would meet this legendary man so quickly and easily. Seeing Bonnie who ignored him so many times, Koala couldn't help gasping. With his hands on his hips, his cheeks puffed out a lovely arc. It's all said. How did you get here? The person who sent you here. Where is he now? Koala asked again, with a hint of urgency and tension in his words. Obviously, when she asked this question, she had already guessed the answer in her heart. She just wanted confirmation from Bonnie. Come. Bonnie, who was completely shocked, couldn't say a word at this time. Naturally, only Luo Lin spoke up. 2 words, come, or not, in response to Koala's question. It's like saying hi to someone. First meeting, mentor. Not long after Luo Lin's greeting fell, another magnetic and pleasant voice sounded abruptly. Next second, a tall figure appeared on the rooftop like a teleportation. Bare-eared hat, holding a Bible in both hands, and wearing a costume like a circle bear. Naturally, he is one of the king's Shichibukai, the Bartholomew Bear with the name of a tyrant. Of course he has another layer of hidden identity. He is the founder of the Revolutionary Army, one of the veteran cadres, codenamed Shang. As one of the closest companions of the Revolutionary Army leader Long, Bartholomew Bear naturally couldn't be unaware of the man called the Revolutionary Mentor by the mighty Long. Regarding the resurrection and reappearance of Roland, the Revolutionary Mentor, except Sabo and Koala who were present at the time, the Tyrant Bear can be said to be the earliest known one in the Revolutionary Army. He left Shimotsuki village. Long contacted him as an elder immediately. Shang has heard about the name of the Revolutionary Mentor for a long time. It was the first time that we had actually met face to face. However, this did not prevent Shang from admiring and revering Roland. Especially after the previous series of foreshadowing. The admiration and reverence in the Tyrant Bear is already overflowing. The excitement was beyond words. Even the mechanical face modified by Vegapunk, a talented marine scientist, couldn't hide it. In the end, it all turned into a deep bow. Uncle Shang, I knew it was you. The other side. When I saw the Tyrant Bear who finally appeared. Look at the familiar figure. Koala's pretty face instantly showed extreme joy and excitement, and he rushed forward immediately, saluting and greeting the bear cheerfully. On the rooftop was broken under the surprise of the pretty girl Koala. Looking at the lovely junior Koala, Shang's heart couldn't help but give birth to some joy. Remove gloves. Paramesha meatball fruit activated. As it was a decade ago, a simple atmospheric balloon was condensed and handed to Koala. Oh, thank you, Uncle Bear. Koala let out a coquettish cry of surprise, took the little toy made by the bear, and thanked him with joy. Aside. The parent-child interaction between the bear and Koala, Jewelry Bonnie, who stepped out of the shock of the hero, pursed her lips. The pretty face looked complicated. There is envy, and even more grievances. So much so that there were tears in his eyes. When he noticed Koala's suspicious gaze, Bonnie quickly raised his hand to wipe it again, turned around with a light snort, and ignored it. Strange people. Koala whispers. Immediately, he sat down next to Luo Lin and Shang. Shang, I have already heard Long talk about you, thank you for your hard work. Roland spoke up. No, it's all about the revolution, it's not about hard work. The Tyrant Bear said calmly. Besides, if it wasn't for the ideological enlightenment of the teacher, I can't say that it is still there. In ignorance, you are the original light of the revolution, and our guiding light. Bear sighed. Koala nodded like a chicken pecking at rice. Hee hee. Roland chuckled and waved his hand. There, now that I'm back, you can relax a little bit of courage on your shoulders. If you don't want to do it, don't force yourself to do it. If you need any help, just mention it to me. Roland said solemnly. Tragic encounters in the original plot, not only was it completely transformed by Vegapunk, but he lost his personality. The end, he became a slave that Tenryubito rode recklessly, and his body was full of swords, and Roland couldn't help but feel indignant. Since he wakes up and returns in this era, he will never let this kind of tragedy happen again. Teacher, I'm here this time, in addition to meeting you, I do have an unkind request. Bear was not polite and spoke directly. Tell me. Roland nodded. Uncle Shang, although I say, the tutor is very powerful. Koala agrees. I want my mentor to help look after my daughter. The bear opened his mouth softly. As his voice fell, the rooftop was instantly silent. Even the noise of the wind was suspended. After a while. Alas! The girl's exclamation was carried to the distance by the wind. Uncle Bear's daughter. ... Chapter 399 Time ability is invalid. The rebellious girl is stupid. Open black lens bracket 1/4 close black lens bracket. Alas! The girl's surprised and tender cries sounded, breaking the silence on the rooftop. Uncle Shang's daughter. Koala's voice suddenly rose more than an octave. When he heard the tyrant bear's request, Koala's beautiful eyes instantly widened. Surprise and shock were written on her delicate pretty face. The most gentle Uncle Shang in the Revolutionary Army actually has a daughter. Who is Uncle Shang's daughter? Koala's little head raised a big question mark. The next moment, Koala's eyes fell on the girl with her back to them. Big stomach jewelry, Bonnie. Realizing this shocking fact, Koala held her breath unconsciously. After all, Bonnie and you are about the same age. Koala, can I ask you to be friends with Bonnie in the future? Tyrant Bear opened his mouth, and his already magnetic voice became softer and kinder. Koala nodded subconsciously. Dumb. At this moment, Bonnie, who had been facing away from the three, suddenly turned around. The pale pink lips were only pursed, and the delicate body trembled slightly. Idiot Dad, don't arbitrarily decide my life. I'll take my own route, so I don't want your irresponsible dad to dictate. Bonnie clenched his little pink fist and shouted with all his strength. The rooftop of the headquarters building was quiet again. Koala looked at the mad Bonnie, then looked at the big bear, opened his mouth, but couldn't say anything. After all, it's a family affair between the bears and Bonnie's father and daughter. An outsider, it is really not good for her to participate in it. After a while. Sorry. The tyrant bear spoke apologetically. Both an apology to Bonnie and an apology to Rollins for being involved in their family affairs. It's normal for a girl of this age to be rebellious. Don't worry about it, this girl is very safe with me. Roland smiled. Hey, young old man, stop talking to yourself. I won't be obediently staying in the cage you set up for me. Jewelry Bonnie raised his eyebrows and spoke unceremoniously. And not just verbally. A layer of pink light suddenly appeared on Bonnie's hands. That is her ability. The mysterious and precious time that is enough to control the growth of the human body is the ability of the devil fruit. She has figured it out. The bear brought her here, just to take her from one cage to another. The only difference is that this cage may be safer, and she won't be researched or harmed in it. But what about freedom or death? After escaping from Marine and the government, and having tasted freedom, Bonnie doesn't want to be bound anymore. Although I don't know what is the relationship between my irresponsible father and the hero Luo Lin. But as long as you attack the hero yourself, then definitely can't stay here. Think here. Bonnie's mouth couldn't help showing a sly arc. Tap your toes lightly on the ground. With a palm that can affect the growth of the human body, it goes to Luo Lin's bare cavity mark. Clap, sounded softly. Even Bonnie didn't expect happened. Her palm really fell on Luo Lin's body. Tutor. Koala exclaimed. It's okay. Roland waved his hand calmly, signaling Koala not to worry. How could it be okay to be touched by my ability? Bonnie grins Isho confidently. I thought that you were all right now because I haven't really activated my abilities yet. What a legendary hero. Just a bluff. Watch me tear off your youthful appearance. At the same time as Bonnie thought, the power of aging that touched Roland's bore exploded in full force. Under the power of her aging, even a few-year-old child will instantly turn into a gray-haired elderly man. The power of pink time was strong, covering Luo Lin's body completely. After a while, the light converges. The confident and smug smile on Bonnie's face is also restrained. Ha ha. Looking at Luo Lin, who was exactly the same as before, without the slightest change. Bonnie is stupid. This. How could my ability be invalid? The first time she met someone who was immune to her abilities, Bonnie's face was full of shock and disbelief. Hee. Roland just laughed and said nothing. But Bonnie could hear the sarcasm in Roland's simple issue. No, I don't believe it, make me an old man. The aging power of Bonnie's right hand, which was stimulated by hee, burst out again. Another moment. Rollins remains the same. If that's the case, then turn me into a brat. Bonnie changed his hand, and his left fell on Roland with a special power that could turn an old man into a child. The radiant radiance of rejuvenation blooms. Still useless. Damn, what kind of monster are you? I don't believe it. Bonnie was also incensed. The left and right hands alternated and slapped on Luo Lin's body, bursting with rays of light. Sorry, teacher. Tyrant Bear apologized again. It's all right, the little girl's strength is just right to beat her back. Roland waved his hand indifferently. Bonnie. Oh, so angry. It's really unstoppable, but how can you give up so easily? Looking at the persevering Bonnie, Koala shook his head strangely. Immediately, she seemed to think of something, and she couldn't help but sigh, and she knew. The story unfolds, and where it might go after that. Koala is very clear. I've seen it in the book more than once. The rebellious girl encounters an uncle who can't win no matter what. She says no, but her body is honest and secretive. There is one more opponent. But since she has promised Uncle Shang, she must take good care of her. Koala thought to herself. Pop, and then her rambunctious little head ushered in Luo Lin's ruthless finger again. Okay, it hurts, the teacher is gentle, it hurts. With tears in her big eyes, Koala hugged her forehead and whispered softly. This bad sound. And that bad line. There are a few more black lines on Roland's forehead. Chapter 400 The confrontation between Shaki and Crane. Rayleigh is green. Open black lens bracket 2/4 close black lens bracket. The grandstand floor of Weisung headquarters building. Shaki returns from 5 minutes away. Come back, what's going on up there? Asked Rayleigh. Yo ho ho ho, that slap sound, it won't be. Foul King Brook let out a meaningful laugh. Don't wait for him to finish. Pop, Crocus, justice on the back of Brook's head. You can shut up, Dahai Wangdi. Crocus was out of breath. I've seen it, and on the rooftop are Shichibukai Tyrant Bear and Big Stomach Girl Jewelry Bonnie. Shaki reveals the answer. What kind of combination is Shichibukai Tyrant Bear and that little girl with a big stomach? Rayleigh was puzzled. Probably. It's hard to say. Shaki hesitated, then shook his head. The sound of clicking high heels hitting the floor tiles sounded from the corridor. Rayleigh and others in the stands of Ling were all alert and sideways. After a while, first appeared in the sight of Rayleigh and others was the legend of Marine, Vice Admiral Crane. Behind Suru, followed by a group of cute, queen, royal sister, etc. girls with different temperaments. Marine Headquarters candidate Admiral Momoshige Guillaume, Colonel Tina, Empress Hancock, Robin, Vivi, Nami and other girls from Weisung. The majestic Vice Admiral Crane looks like everyone's big sister. With the arrival of Suru and his party, the stand fell into a dead silence for a moment. Invisibly, a smell like gunpowder permeated from Vice Admiral Crane and Shaki. The oppressive atmosphere continued for a while. In the end, it disappeared with a smile from the Crane. After confirming that the former nemesis really does not have the smell of Roland, Suru's mouth corners can't help but lift a radian. The red lips light up. Shaki, isn't it? You haven't seen each other for so many years, but you are not much older. What? Suru opened his mouth with a kind smile on his delicate pretty face. Crunch. That was the sound of Shaki's silver teeth grinding. That charming face had a bit of envy, a bit of jealousy, and a bit of annoyance. This woman is definitely provocative. Absolutely. Don't you just rely on your luck to find a good husband. Believe it or not, the old lady will give you a hat every minute. Shaki thought angrily. Looking at Shaki's angry expression, Suru's pretty face smiled brighter. Girls Alice, Nami, Robin and other little girls who were familiar with Shaki all opened their mouths wide and looked incredible. After all, they had never seen Shaki look like this before. Even Sister Shaki was suppressed by this Vice Admiral Crane. It seems that the position of the main palace is not something they can shake. Then the next thing is. The little girls competing for the second place thought unconsciously. The other side. Seeing that Shaki was choked by the crane, Crocus and the others couldn't help but be amazed. As for Rayleigh, he was flustered for no reason, and his old face turned green for no reason. Everyone. Koala's voice came from the stairs, attracting the attention of the little girls. Koala. Koala, you are back. Koala, what the hell is Brother Rolling doing with you up there? Nami, Vivi and other little girls stepped forward and asked anxiously and urgently. Brother Luoling knew that you were here, so he asked me to come down and tell you. Koala answered. Who is the guest above this time? Robin asked. Koala glanced at the distracted Tina. Vice Admiral Suru is the mentor's closest companion, no problem. Vice Admiral Guion used to refer to the mentor as Dad, which was fine. It's just this Marine Colonel Tina. The legends of the Roger pirates such as Rayleigh and Sample who were hiding in the stands were shocked again, and Tina, who couldn't help herself, noticed Koala's sight. Your senses with hindsight, you should avoid it. No problem, little Tina is also on my side. Suru spoke up, explaining for Tina. Then it will be fine. Koala nodded. The guests on the rooftop are Uncle Bear and Bonnie. Koala rode. Uncle Bear. Bonnie. Kaya, Makino and others are full of question marks. It's the Shichibukai tyrant Bartholomew the bear and the big stomach girl Jewelry Bonnie. Shaki added. Alas. Why did Shichibukai tyrant bear come to Luoling? Nami asked in confusion. And that, Jewelry Bonnie, the big stomach girl, what's wrong with her? Vivi asked. Actually, Uncle Shang is also a member of our revolutionary army. Koala didn't hide. Hearing this, Tina's eyes widened in shock. Guion was also surprised. Bonnie's words, she is Uncle Shang's daughter. Uncle Shang brought Bonnie over this time because he wanted to. Koala continued, telling everyone what happened. Bonnie is suddenly brought over and said that she is also our sister in the future. It will be difficult for everyone to accept. Give a preview first, explain the cause and effect. Koala believes that Vivi, Robin and everyone will understand. Listen to Koala's story. A quiet needle drop could be heard in the stands. Robin, Alice and other little girls all widened their eyes in shock. Rayleigh, Crocus and other legends are also amazed. The only two in the audience is not so surprising, only Suru and Shaki. At the same time. Roof of the headquarters building. Luo Lin, who pricked up his ears and listened to the sound of the grandstand floor, smiled. Hoo. The persevering king of the big stomach, Jewelry Bonnie, after using the ability hundreds of times in a row, finally exhausted, and fell to the ground panting. Her time-related ability is mysterious and powerful, and it requires a lot of physical strength to use. That's why she eats and eats to replenish energy all the time. It's really unstoppable right now. What the hell is going on with you? What a monster. Jewelry Bonnie said with a look of resentment. Haha, I'll take it as your compliment for now. Roland grinned Isho. As early as decades ago, His body and age had been immortalized under the power of the system, immortal and immortal. No matter whether it is forward or reverse time, it can no longer play any role on him. Bonnie's time-related abilities are incomprehensible to others. As for Roland, I'm sorry, Roland himself is. Roland raised his hand and made a light move towards the void. Next second, under the gaze of jewelry Bonnie's wide eyes, a lot of delicious food and wine emerged out of nothing in the void, including her favorite pizza. It's hard to beat your back, come and eat. Roland handed out a piece of pizza. Well, since you said so, then I'm welcome, I'll start. Bonnie's eyes lit up, rubbing his little hands together, and began to gorge himself on the food. Ha ha ha, what a kid. Roland laughed, raised his hand and touched Bonnie's head. No road race. Bonnie mumbled. A blunt smile appeared on Tyrant Bear's stiff mechanical face.